are now back here to our second match of the day, and still we will be ensuring that we're gonna speak in English still in order to be more inclusive with our brothers here from Ridaz. And if earlier on we've been able to see how Team Stallions actually been able to get a few chances here for veteran, well, I wonder what will be the story for this time around.
Yeah, JY Esports versus Riders, it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, no Mochi,
Mm-hmm.
because both of them are at the bottom of our leaderboards, number 9 and number 10 respectively. Though I would say it that I'm curious why JY found themselves below veterans, right? It's quite a discussion because you would expect at least all the Filipino teams, based on their quality, would be number 1 and to number 8 respectively, and the Rosy teams are going to be number 9 and 10. But it's a different story because JY, yes, they've beaten veterans, but they haven't beaten Riders yet. And as an additional, they haven't beaten any other Filipino team. So if they fall against Riders, that's a very crazy story that we can dissect. But I feel like it's up to them to change that storyline and make themselves the main character for this one.
That is true. And that is why we have to quick dissect what we have here for the side of JYE Sports. We'll be seeing who'll be playing for this specific matchup. And it seems like they've been able to stick to the original. Oh, wait, we have LBA here. Interesting. Okay.
Mm.
I'm just about to say that they haven't had any type of roster changes so far, except for now. Because we'll be having a BA here, and we will be confirming that later on. But we have friends, Raya, Son. I mean, it's already practically the same here. We're the people who actually perform here for JY Esports. But it seems like Jalan, one of their consistent players, will be subbed out by LBA instead, and I am pretty curious what LBA has to offer for this team.
Yeah, and to speak from a perspective of someone who knows how a team works, right? As Coach L speaking, right? This
Mm-hmm.
might just be the initial operation of JY Esports to find the roster that works for them, right? We see them on the cameras trying to bring out all their emotes, but
Yep.
LBA right now, he's the only one locked in. This is his chance to show that he deserves the main roster spot. And looking at their team data, the
Mm-hmm.
only win is in the first week, right? I believe.
Yep.
And for their final match, it would be nice to at least see them close out with a win. But so far with this change, I don't know how it's gonna affect the composition of the team, the vibes, the
Mm-hmm.
communication. What Jelen brings might not be what LBA brings. But if this is already their rebuild or at least refit of the identity of JY, then I would want to see it sooner rather than later because come on, man, they need to at least put up a fight against Filipino teams.
Yep, couldn't agree more on what you have mentioned. But right now, though, it seems like it's gonna be kind of a different one because this is already the last match that they have here. It is going to be against Riders, and this will dictate if they will be ninth or 10th in our standings, and hopefully not the latter. And I guess we will see if Riders has been able to learn from their matches as well. Like them, it's pretty the same. But here from Raya, their IGL, good luck and have fun. I hope every match may nabubuo din tayong friendship, or we can actually create the friendship with us, and we make people happy, which is pretty much a light-hearted take here for Raya, which is one of the things that I admire from him as well. But at the same time, this should still at least bear some weight, such as dignity here in our league.
Yeah, they're in the same road, right, or path like veterans and riders were in. They're just here to participate at this point. And of course, if you're here to participate, why not give it your all? Get to know the players that you're going to be competing with, get to know the community, and at least make sure that when you are given the next time, you can show a better result for your season, right? Maybe we'll see them next summer. Maybe not, but I feel like I am disappearing quite
You
into the
became
blur here.
Japanese.
So I became blur for a bit. So let me just fix it down real quick. It's a bit of a I was shocked as well, but Ridaz, we're gonna have to take a look at their roster. Hopefully, all five of them are
Yep.
complete this time around.
Yep, I do think that they're complete and they have 21 Raya instead. So it seems like the sub in has already been subbed out and 21 Raya is willing to take that kick here. And here, though, we definitely been able to glaze a bit of some of our players, such as Wang Feng, Kodak, Bangs as well is pretty good. And as well as 21 Raya. And here is indeed a substitution. Sectet is out and 21 Rai is in.
Okay, so quite quite the news that we received because recently I've been seeing in the Discord Zach that was preparing, but maybe just
Mm-hmm.
to avoid the technical difficulties, they're gonna let 21 Rai play in, right? Don't want to forfeit
Yeah.
another possible loss here because if you want to go out with a bang, this is the perfect time to do it, right? Against JY,
Yep.
against possibly the weakest Filipino team that we have currently in the league. So for them, all emotes, everyone else is serious. Wong Feng's face does not look like the face of a man that always rocks the chainsaw, but
Uh-huh.
as the lesser of the Rossi teams, right? They're the bit more lax, a bit more fun to watch because of
Mm-hmm.
all the variety of guns they're using. I want to see a more serious side to them, right? They
Yeah.
need to show that they have the capabilities of the veteran squad and they need to show it through their own identity.
Mm-hmm. And they still have a couple of matches to work on with as well, 4 matches and as well as execution. And today will be the day that they might actually have that W on that record, which is definitely something that they should be vouching on. In addition to, as you have mentioned, the variation of guns that they can use, and actually, they can actually implement in their gameplay in order to further amplify the flavor and the colors that they can put into their game. And so far, I actually like how Sectet has been able to play, but unfortunately, as you have mentioned, we don't want any more technical difficulties occurring for this time around. And instead, we will be depending on 21 Rai to deliver, which I do think that he's been able to do for already quite some time. But here from Sectet, JY is the team that they want to defeat because we need to win at least one time. Be careful for a team, and good luck. Have fun.
Yeah, I feel like Sek that taking the back seat here
Mm-hmm.
for this match is going to be the motivator. I do believe he's the oldest in the
Yeah, I
squad
think so
of
too.
Riders. So maybe taking on a bit of that coach role if he can, right? Give a bit of more of advice from the sidelines. Maybe also just to tell his team that guys, we do not need to finish 10th here, right? Sure, we have matches, sure, we have execution, but there's JY. There's an opportunity to strike, there's an opportunity to overtake them, and this is also their last match, JY. So why not send them
Yes.
off with a bang for ourselves, right? Our bangs that the Riders want that win, and this is the best opportunity I think that they can deliver that one.
Yep, and let us see which of these teams will be winning for this time around. They're definitely fighting for very different reasons here in our standings. Quite unorthodox, if I may say, but let us show our predictions. So who are we vouching on here in our talents pool? It seems like we're going to be having 2-0 straight in favor for JY Esports and Ridaz. Feel free to prove us wrong.
I mean, right now I'm leaning more towards Riders because JY they
Ooh.
added in LBA.
Mm-hmm.
This is their last match.
Actually, yeah.
They want to at least try to reiterate their system by adding in a new player. So I've been talking about rebuild earlier, right? Or maybe refit
Mm-hmm.
their system. So if they're gonna do that against a Riders who's still ramping up to their last matches of the season and seeing this opportunity as the perfect time to strike to get a win, maybe just maybe they thought wrong, right, JY?
Mm-hmm.
So even if my prediction there says 2-0 for the Filipino Pride, I want our banks to at least get a win, not through defaults like veterans did against Riders themselves, but through an actual hard contested match that we are going to have fun seeing.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure that this is gonna be pretty close, especially after all of the adjustments. And I feel like if there is an opportunity for us to change our predictions, we will do so. But unfortunately, it is quite of a touch move, like it's a chess. So we're gonna be sticking to what we have right now. Let us see our map veto here for JY Esports and as well as Ridaz. Which maps will they be playing on? It seems like there's no more New Mexico, no more sub-base, but Port and Cara and as well as Black Widow will be chosen. Which this will be very, very interesting for us to see. Both of these matches are pretty heavy in terms of defaults and more time to shine for all our frontliners and as well as anchors.
Yeah, and for port, I'm looking at the snipers of our teams here, right? New Mexico
Mm-hmm.
ban, understandable because Riders has a lot of playtime there. Sub-base ban because of the identity of JY. So we're gonna go to the big boy maps where experience really matters. So
Yep.
JY might be a youngling team. Riders, not really young, but I would say new to the scene again after being delayed for 3 years, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these maps, they've been very long into the Crossfire ecosystem. And if you want to see a serious game, which these two teams are definitely going to treat this one as a serious match, right? These are the perfect maps to bring out that serious side of
Mm-hmm.
Riders and for JY Esports, that side where, come on, guys, we want to get a win, not just to make sure that we don't lose to our Rosy team, but to get ourselves into standing above both of veterans and riders.
That is true, and I feel like the best way for us to actually equate the letter R in Riders is rebirth, which is most likely gonna be the priority here for them as well. And I think our stage is already ready, and it's all up for them for the action. Let us hand it over to our new set of casters. It's going to be Datum and Ramon. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Mochi and Ella, for the opener of JY Esports versus Riders. It's Datum and Ramon on the mic again, and it's another international matchup. That's always something to be excited about. And with both teams looking to wind down their season with a W, this feels like the clincher both the Davoeños and the Rossi team are looking for, Datum.
Absolutely, Ramon. Super excited for this one because of the reasons that both teams presented coming into this matchup. We talk about the interview or the words from these players, and we heard from JY. They said they just want to have fun. They want to set the narrative that this is, of course, their breakout season, and they just want to belong. It's about the inclusion for them. They just want to make friends along the way. For
Aw.
Riders, if you take a look at what they said, they want to make a mark. They want to leave a mark. They want to feel like they're included by taking a win. It's kind of unfortunate yesterday that we weren't able to see them play against Veteran, of course, the one team that they've always tried to beat. I mean, hindered by tech issues, man. What can you do? Hopefully today they can make a comeback against JY.
Hey, you can't fault us for feeling this way about this Riders team, right? Because even from the spring qualifiers, they kind of went through the hardest journey to get towards SEA Masters anyway, where they lost their matchup up against Veteran and then they had to go through the grit and grind of the consecutive BO3s just to get to the SEA Masters at that point. And then they had to run through the gauntlet of how fast, how aggressive this PH style has been, which is a bit hard to adjust, to say the least, over the side of Riders, right? So all of it leading up to this point where they're just looking to try to bounce back in with maybe a W over the JY Esports. I feel like that could be the clincher that they're looking for, whereas JY at the very least, right? I think this team, there's always the word potential thrown at them, right? And there's some
Yeah.
glimpses of hope because of individuals like France, as well as Jelan. But the problem is, Jelan's gone. Now we have a newcomer, LBA, coming into the roster now. I've been trying to research a little bit about where this LBA guy could be. Unfortunately, not amounting to much, right? So it's going to be a surprise for JY Esports. I think that could either play as an advantage or maybe a surprise.
It's gonna be an even bigger surprise for us, and of course our Daisy, of course, who has been trying to wrap up their map veto. I mean, map pool wise, they have been exploring a little bit on the Black Widow department. Hasn't found a lot of success there because people in the Philippines absolutely love playing that Black Widow. They've tried a couple of sub bases as well, Ramon, and unfortunately, I think they faced up against one of the Visayan teams, so you know how that goes up against any of them. So Ridaz have been struggling to find footing for sure. I mean, the one difference between Ridaz and Veteran is Ridaz is the one that's kind of late to the meta, to the Philippine meta, right? They've always put Wong Feng in a bit of an interesting spot of playing whatever gun he wants, that is the chainsaw. Granted, it works some of the time, but it hasn't been enough, certainly.
Yeah, that's true, right? I mean, at least he's trying, right? I mean, to try to shuffle through with whatever weaponry he could have. Maybe he could find a soft spot for how he would want to play with his team, which goes as a double-edged blade for me. At least he's trying his best, right? But at the very least, now in a matchup up against JY, maybe 21 Rai has something to say about it, right? Like, he's gonna be subbing in. It's been a while since we've seen him come through in SEA Masters as well, right? But looking through the qualifiers as well, I think he's been the shining star for at least a few of the games leading up to their qualification, right? So we'll have to wait and see if that will take shape coming into this matchup up against JY. It's pretty much, I'd say, an interesting battle to say the least, right? Because both of these teams, if I'm not mistaken, have yet to win a set. It's unfortunate to say the least, right? But correct me if I'm wrong, Datum, because for some reason, if I see a JY Esports team, I can't help but feel excited. But for some reason, the performance is just not going over the line, right? Is that really what is the momentum right now, or is it because of the environment so far for JY?
Well, to correct you, Ramon, JY has actually won a match up against Veteran, so they have won 2 sets at least, and they're looking to make it 2 more up against Ridaz here. So yes, absolutely agree. I mean, when it comes to watching JY, I'm really enthusiastic whenever I see the game from their lens. Of course, being the full-fledged Davao representative, it's always nice to see that local representation. And of course, you got to see 5 new faces coming into Masters, 5 new faces that seemingly come out of nowhere, able to qualify just by their own talent. And it's always nice to see the improvement from the start of the season to the latter end. And I like the expectations as well for JY, right? They're not getting put down by the results, the numbers so far. They're just being realistic and very enthusiastic. I mean, overall, I love the energy that JY brings up to the plate here. And yeah, absolutely agree, Ramon. I like seeing the squad play. Hopefully, they can take a win today as well, but I can't help but feel the same for Ridaz.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? I mean, that just gives us a little bit more time now to kind of talk a little bit, because we're gonna be going over a little bit about how this game has been going. It's taking a little bit of a while, and we can't really ignore that, so stay tuned, right? This series will definitely go underway once it's available to all the players. Right now, we're doing everything that we can to kind of reach through the channels and maybe see if we can get this game going. I want to see LBA actually be on the server right now. This guy's been a question mark. I don't know what he can offer. Not a Jelen's outright. I mean, for what we can see from Jelen, he's kind of been a little bit of a glue for the team in a lot of the times that they've been trying their best in a lot of their good rounds. I think this guy's been on the kill feed. I think this guy can offer what veterancy he still has when it comes to JY Esports and how young this talent is. LBA in comparison does seem a little bit younger, right? So you can't really ignore the comparison in terms of experience. So maybe LBA can kind of just offer a little bit of that talent, right? Maybe this guy's a little bit more faster on the mechanics. Maybe this guy is a little bit more friendly with people on JY Esports, right? Not to say that Jelen's not friendly. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but it's kind of different when you're all the same age. You kind of have the same ideals, the same culture. I mean, I think LBA could have a good spot, maybe in the JY Esports banner, or maybe it's also a good way for him to showcase his talent as well. But we now have an update. I think we're going to go into a very, very short break. So, ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned. This will be the game between JY Esports versus Ridaz after a short break. And finally, we are back with CFS SCA Masters 2026. It's the spring edition. And of course, we're back with Ridaz versus JY Esports. Hopefully with some good news, right? Because Ridaz, it looks like all 5 players are coming up and alive. And possibly coming in towards this matchup up against JY Esports, prepared with all 5 players on the server right now. So, Datum, Before we get into any sort of shenanigans, right? I just want to introduce you to my friend. This guy's name's Dadfem. Don't question me why his name's Dadfem, right? He's a very, very cute elephant, and he just wants to watch some really good Crossfire right now.
That took me back. I haven't heard that name in years, Ramon. Thank you for introducing me to that, Fem. I'm sure he has a favorite player from a certain game, but we digress. Okay. For the people watching for the rest of Southeast Asia, no, I just want to translate what we have in our lower thirds. It says here, magkakaisa na ba ang Ridaz o JY ang madadali? Can Ridaz huddle up, or will JY come out on top? Let's listen to the comms.
Jaga na, Radin. Jaga na, Radin. Aman ya?
Well, there's not a lot to translate, but at the very least, right, there's a little bit of an idea on what they want to do. So JY Esports on BL, Ridaz on arguably the stronger side on this map. Jung with that long peak. Definitely supplying a bit of util, making JY hesitate to even peek on down, but they're still preparing for that LA push.
Actually, what port one of those maps where you definitely can use the chainsaw. A lot of wall bangable areas here. JY showing the 4 flag setup they used yesterday up against Stallions, and again, it's not effective. Koldok finds the kill. LBA for the trade. 21Y on the double sniper BR play, and they're making this impossible for JY.
Exactly the setup I expected. Coming with 21Y on the roster, showing off his skills on the TRG. And he even makes it T2K. Alright, 21Y. He has some reps. He's showing up big on that sniper role right now. It's Sun and France all alone. And because it was a lot of bodies invested on LA, they're just going to try to pivot to the upside.
Oh, and pivot they will, France. Mid-rotation finds 31Y, Ramon. And suddenly this round, a little bit too hard for JY to recover. But they do have time. They do have a sniper. There's arguably enough resources for Sun and France to make this work.
For sure. Interestingly, Wong Feng's not holding a chainsaw, so you know that Riders are taking this with utmost respect against JY, and it's not to say that JY doesn't really deserve any respect. They are one of the primary teams that we kind of want to watch out for when it comes to having Davao represents. Definitely are talented individuals. 25 seconds. Push on in towards house. It's on Wong Feng and Bangs to try to hold down that site. Flash coming in. Sun with the entry. Wong Feng gets the adjustment, but not entirely to France. In a 1v2, but it's a clean shot from Bang S. And Ridaz with that first point.
Smiles across the board for Ridaz, Ramon. I mean, they know they've done something good with that LA hold. And a bit of a mishap for JY. They flashed for under, but there's no one there. It was the site hold for Ridaz that was just too tough to get through. On top of the BR play from 21Y, the double sniper actually suiting the playstyle of Ridaz. And surprise, surprise, Ramon, no chainsaw for Winnipeg.
Right, I told you. These guys are taking this game seriously right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, they know that JY is a team that you do not want to underestimate. France looking to strike from above, and 21Y just peeks into him. That a sniper so far, and he looks to go continue to challenge.
4 versus 5 again. JY starting off rough with their sniper going down early. Brian kind of deciding between picking up the ally sniper or just the regular old EBR. There's plenty of downtime here actually, Ramon. I wasn't expecting JY to put a lot of respect on the Ridaz defense.
I mean, of course, Ridaz, even in a lot of the other maps, they really try to match the tempo against their opponents.
That's true.
Match the tempo they are right now. If they're getting the slow treatment, they're getting slow right back. Brian with one, with Jung. Readjusts over to Brian. This is definitely a stalwart defense on the side of Ridaz right now. Not even giving any sort of space to Sun. He's walked in towards that LA position. Good spray down from Sun, but eventually 20Y will get that treatment. 2-0 for Ridaz.
I think we're headed for a bit of a DR. That's exactly what I thought. JY struggling a little bit here on the defaults, and this is exactly what we saw yesterday. I mean, I do remember you, or the way JY played against SDS yesterday, Ramon. The first few rounds, they were playing very, very slow. I mean, I feel like you could evidently see just how much of an adjustment period there is for JY. They're trying to feel out how their opponents play, as they did yesterday with SDS, by going for the default. And a lot of times actually it doesn't really work out well for them, but it does pave the way to showcase how disciplined the players are. JY, yes, they've got a good default, but after the fact is where they kind of fumble. So the structure definitely is starting to shape up for JY, but you can see the lapses in it as well. So it's a good stepping stone for JY to be in.
For sure, right? I mean, you can theorize that maybe because they're adjusting to the absence of Jalan and maybe
true.
integrating LBA in a bit of more of a slower approach, right? And sometimes that is the best approach. If you want to integrate the younger player, you kind of let him go through the grit and grind, right? Before you kind of know what his strengths and weaknesses are. And in a matchup up against Ridaz, it's the best sort of opportunity that a young player like LBA can kind of go through to kind of get used to the system of SCA Masters, right? Well, a good start for Ridaz. Definitely not the opportunity that JY has been looking out for. It's a 2-0, and JY already have house B.
Alright, just one sniper for Ridaz this time. 21 Fry is playing defense, and so is back. That's back in that B site. LBA with a wall bang, Rai with a push down curve. Only gets the one, and the lurk is destroyed by Ridaz, but France and LBA plant the bomb.
Good awareness coming through from the flank on curve as now they have their eyes set on the site itself. Look at the damage done. They're both on low HP. Right is just peppering them with bullets and seasoning them with a nade. I don't think that's a dinner that JY is willing to eat. 3-0 for Ridaz.
This is actually a very good start for Ridaz, Ramon. It's a shame that we couldn't see this yesterday. I feel like they would have given Veteran a run for their money had there been an actual match yesterday up against them. And JY are the ones actually receiving this, this improved look from Ridaz. And it's a shame as well that we don't get to see Sekdet, one of the pioneers of this roster, playing along the rest of the team with this revamped sort of upgrade. And it's a good look. Ridaz actually can't help but feel like they're a team that is actually capable of winning this game against JY Ramon.
And it's kind of crazy to kind of put it like that, right? But considering the things that they went through all throughout the weeks that go in and go out in SCA Masters, it's sort of refreshing to see good plays coming out for Ridaz, right? I mean, let's be real. The bar definitely is set low for the success rate for Ridaz right now, but any sort of win is to be celebrated, especially because of how structured this team now looks on GR. Now, granted, this is a GR-sided map, but they're handling JY's aggression with, a few lapses, but they're winning the sets. They're winning the rounds, to say the least, right? And that's already something to be commended. And the way that they've been also integrating this double sniper setup is actually a key factor into why JY have been pretty much slowing down the pace of this game so far. That resulted in them just going straight in towards B with a little bit of resistance, to say the least, right?
Yes, I wouldn't necessarily say that there's a lot of lapses for Ridaz, actually. There's not, as a case in point, there hasn't been a single score put up on the board by the players of JY. So, very few mistakes by Ridaz, which is quite surprising. This is not the Ridaz that we've known them for. Hence the prediction. I mean, no disrespect to the players of Ridaz, right? We know these are talented players. We tout them very, very highly, grand scheme of things. But couple that, or rather compare that with the rest of the teams in C Masters so far, including JY, it's kind of no contest, at least in the first few weeks of the group stage. I think they're trying to change that narrative, and it is not as lighthearted as the interview might put it out to be. Ridaz are actually looking to upgrade and hit their mark, or put their mark on CFSC, and hopefully find better footing in the upcoming Masters, or in the upcoming tournaments for the rest of the year. You have to remember, Ramon, Master C isn't the only one getting an upgrade this year. It's also regionals. It's going to include Rosea teams, and Ridaz looking to make an impact in that even before the tournament starts.
That's true. So they're planting the seeds of their hopes so far for the region right now, right? I mean, this could be the stepping stone now, and we might see the development just go over the course of this whole year. And I think we could kind of give them a leeway on how things have went, right? Because they definitely have tried to adapt, but this is step one towards their process, and step one is not always the easiest part, right? Maybe after this, it's gonna be a refreshed new outlook. Now they know the meta around the Philippines. Now they know how to contest up against the best teams in SCA, and possibly open new opportunities as well for other SCA teams to kind of join in. Not just have the PH teams play, not just have Indonesia play. Maybe a couple of Thailand brothers want to come in, join the party. Malaysia, alright, come into the party as well. I mean, it's gonna be one hell of an SCA Masters when diversity is in the conversation, right? I mean, it's not to say that I'm very much tired of the Filipinos, right? I mean, these guys are just hella diverse in terms of playstyles, but I want to see some more representation. It's very much exciting to see more nations coming into SCA Masters.
What I'm excited to see here, Ramon, is the possibility of other teams from different countries sort of innovate the PH meta. Yes, we are kind of pioneering the rest of the world, but what if someone comes to us and then pioneers off of how we play? I mean, we talk about Indonesia and these other countries like MY, SG as well, that have brimming potential. I mean, these are players. There are players in these countries that are very, very much so talented. I'd love to see them find a little bit of a spotlight as well in perhaps this year, maybe next year. But you're absolutely right. This is a step in the right direction for Ridaz. And, well, it took a little bit of time to adjust to the Philippine meta. But they finally are coming to fruition here with a little bit of success up against JY. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism. I mean, coming from us, of course, that Ridaz a little bit late to the party, at least comparing to some would say their bigger brothers that is veteran. But it's coming along, and I like to see it. And I know I've said it 3 times already, and it's a shame we don't get to see that coveted matchup that we saw for the qualifier, that is Ridaz versus Veteran. But I think the pieces are there, Ramon, and that's what is important. Ridaz just have to solve the puzzle of how they're gonna fit it together. But players looking really good. Wong Feng stepping up with the HK.
That's true. And we've highlighted this player multiple times as well, all throughout the weeks, right? Him being a very clutch player, and him also being really fast in adapting to the meta in terms of the guns that he's been using, right? I mean, we've seen the chainsaw, but it's not just that. I mean, even on the M14, he's looked pretty much solid on the rifle as well. And not to also highlight another player here, but it's very refreshing to see 21 Ride just be integrated very well into the system as well. Even if there are times that he's not on the roster, I feel like there's a presence around him that really just solidifies the game plan for Ridaz. When he's on the server, he's just playing well and feels like another consistent factor. I just hope that it just continues for Ridaz as we continue this JY esports conversation, right? I mean, I'm excited for what adjustments have to be made, right? I mean, there's new changes coming here. There's 21 Ryan that we mentioned, right? We also had LBA had a few moments here and there, but it's not really the spotlight on him. It's just so far a GR side that while we say textbook that we kind of expect from a GR side map like Port, it's the matter of how Ridaz have been working out through this. I mean, it's very unprecedented, or at least it's very new to our eyes that Ridaz are doing very stable in a map like Port right now.
Exactly, and some would argue that in Port you only have to get kills, but no, you also have to get discipline. You have to minimize mistakes, and so far it's been minimal for Ridaz. I'll give them that. Although I do want to talk about their opposition here, JY Davao Esports, of course, the team hoping to represent and put Davao in the CROSSFIRE crosshairs. And yes, they have had some shining moments. They've been able to put a couple of rounds even up against some of the country's best, like Stallions. And yes, they've had a rocky start to the season. They've had only 1 win up against, of course, the Rosea team that is veteran. So they're hoping to make that double and perhaps find a win as well against the other teams. But I don't think they have an opportunity anymore. I think they've already played against all of the other Philippine countries now in JY Davao. So no shot there, no luck anymore for JY Davao. But I do like how confident JY Davao is, and when they are, they kind of like to steamroll against their opponents. I mean, their one against Veteran looks very different from the way they play against Ridaz. So this is also reminiscent in their match yesterday when they felt confident. They looked like they could go up against the likes of Kano and Loy, for example. But then when they didn't, they just kind of falter, right? I mean, correcting myself, it's not yesterday, it's the other day that JY played against Stallions. But my point, Ramon, here is JY, a team that thrives on that confidence. It feels to me like they really depend on being confident to be able to put up a fight. Even Stallions said so. Remember our interview with one of the players from STS? I think that was Dolph that we interviewed. he said
Mhm.
himself that it felt like JY are kind of afraid to take the fights to them, but when they do,
Yeah.
it does make it harder for them. But most of the time, it just felt like they were afraid to take the fight, and I think that's the biggest slump here for JY. If they just get over the fact that they're playing against these big teams, they would have better success.
Maybe they have this mentality that afraid to make mistakes, right? But sometimes
Maybe.
risky decisions kind of lead you to success, and you don't want to take that mentality right now, right? I mean, especially when you're a team that doesn't really have that much to lose, you're not really in contention for playoffs, you're normally trying to end your season on a high note, then maybe I don't know, take the gloves off and maybe just go for kills that you normally do when you're playing those ranked matches, or maybe just play your standard scrim performances, right? I mean, that's where you kind of feel the pressure is off. So that's kind of what we're expecting out of JY, but for now at least, right? Granted, they do have a sub. It doesn't seem like they're in a very comfortable spot. Right? Granted, as well, it's also a BL side for port for JY Esports as well. It's definitely the factors are present. But I can't help but feel like I'm expecting a little bit more out of this team that they really not delivering at this current time, you know?
And I could definitely feel the players expecting the same thing, Ramon. I mean, yes, the interview doesn't say the same. They say they want to have fun. They say to make they're here to make friendships with the other squads. But come on, guys. I mean, if you were given the chance to play with 10, 9, 8 of the best players, best teams in the entirety of Southeast Asia, of course you're gonna want to perform. Of course you're gonna want to prove yourselves to them. So I think that also shows a little bit of disappointment for the season of JY so far, and they have to let that not get to them because their season is not done yet.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot more Crossfire to be played, but unfortunately we'll have to take a little bit of a short break to give more time to both teams and try to prepare for the server as well, right? So it's gonna be me, Datum, as well as that fam here right now, and we're gonna be throwing it into a short break. Don't go anywhere. CFS SCA Masters will be right back. Hello everybody, welcome back to CFS SCA Masters Spring 2026. It's the battle between Ridaz and JY Esports, and so far it has been a streak for Ridaz. And right now, I believe we're going to be coming back into the server very, very shortly. You're still joined by me, Ramon, and Datum on the caster desk. It's been fun to watch the sub in 21 Rye actually going ham on that sniper, but I can't help but feel like JY are yet to tap in their full potential, man.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen a couple of setups from the BL side, but majority of the fights just hasn't been going their way, and it's just a question of confidence for JY, or is this just getting a little bit of a feel of how Riders play? We'll know once the game continues. But the fact is, Ramon, there's a big lead that is currently being built up even bigger by Riders that JY have to address. They have to find a way to try and break this momentum from Riders, maybe perhaps find the mid in Z and bolster up towards BR or something. I don't know, but they have to find something as we go back in port.
Just feels nice to see Riders doing good at the end of the day, right? I mean, with good
Oh, look
setups
at
just
that.
like that. It looks like they're going to try to go aggressive right now. Bang S. A nade on the other side. Pepper in the hands of the push on Riders.
Oh, no.
Riders getting the first kill, and it just stops whatever shenanigans Banks wants to go for.
I'm about to say, JY had to be the ones coming up with the Riders didn't need to pull up the shotgun rather. And that's 2 kills already for JY. Young finds one. One frame from under gets spotted out by Rai, and that should be the push for JY to try to make towards that B side. USP's out, elbows out. Franz takes control of under, and that's the bomb getting planted.
So, one of the only times that we see them do something special, right? The Vapor, a kill from Kodak, and eventually a round for JY Esports. It was just a solid push that they got for themselves. Not exactly the whole W key that we kind of expect, because they did pull back after they knew it was a shotgun. But other than that, a clean execute for JY Esports.
Yeah, first off, they punished off the shotgun player that Ridaz did not need to do. And then they pushed towards that B side, taking control of it entirely. Also, a nice little flank up to mid by JY, taking control of curves, and that's kind of versatility I'm looking for here, Ramon. A little bit extra map control.
And maybe this technical timeout they took really got them geared in towards this port map. Not gonna be that house push, and they only have 2 anchors here, 21 Rai and Bang S. We know that this setup has been wouldn't say perfect. It is something that they've been working towards. So far, JY, they're just preparing for the push, but because of the amount of bullets have been trained up towards House B, they can't push towards it.
That they can't, and Ridaz down to just 3. And I can't help but smell the upcoming DR Ramon. Nevertheless, JY are gonna attempt the push. Jung taken down in RS. Good start for Ridaz, for JY rather, as Rai gets caught by Bang. Unaware of the rotation from Bang S and JY. Moving towards C8. This might be an A push as Brian gets flashed.
Kodak on an angle as he has an idea. A flick coming in, and Kodak, a clean shot onto Brian. Leaves it all to France. He shot towards Wang Feng. He's wants any sort of momentum, but Bang S will secure the kill nonetheless. It's a 4-1. It's unfortunate for JY. They got a good thing going until we go into the dead round yet again. 1-4.
Although you could see the pieces still there, Ramon, right? They still tried going for the mid push, which eventually worked out initially, but then they couldn't expect the second player to rotate and kind of cover the tracks of Ridaz here. I mean, granted, it was a bit of a softer attack from JY, as it was just down to the 3 people, only putting 1 player to push towards that curved position, but I could still see the plan forming here for JY, and that's nice signs of life that they are willing to fight for this game up against Ridaz. You still have to remember, Ramon, that this map really showcases how strong you are in the BL side, because it's very, very challenging. So JY, the only goal for them here is to minimize losses. Maybe perhaps get to a 4-5 score and work from the GR side on the second half.
For sure. I mean, that's been the win con for a lot of BL teams on port anyways, right? So I guess that's something on their minds right now. But I guess the big difference I saw from the side of Ridaz, why they were able to go back to the winning form, is that they went back to playing standard GR, and that's honestly the only thing that I saw going through this game. I mean,
right.
The only thing that they had a little bit of shenanigans, right, was that push coming in over to House B with a Vepr. I mean, it's not every day that you see somebody do that. I mean, they do push, but with a shotgun towards that range, I mean, it's a little bit too much to ask for somebody like Ridaz to actually do that, right? But after that, they just went back the standard GR default for them, and it kind of just paved the way to what, again, was a stalwart defense on the side of Ridaz again. So I think it just speaks to the system that they still have, and it still works in this port map. And JY are just reaching that adjustment period again, right? Like, now that they're holding, now that they're turtling, what's the next play for this JY team?
That's a big question, right? I mean, that's exactly the challenge for JY. What are you gonna do next? Although, I want to talk about Ridaz and that shotgun play a little bit more, Ramon, because I can't help but feel like that is them adjusting to the PH meta. What I mean by that is, in every single occasion that they played against the big PH teams, more often than not, Ramon, we see a shotgun. And that could be a misinterpretation of what the meta is. Ridaz could be thinking that maybe since they're playing the shotgun against us, maybe that's the meta. Maybe it's not a clear-cut HK and M14 meta. Maybe we could play the shotgun every now and then. Ridaz, I don't know if you can hear me, but hear me out, that is not the meta at all. That's the other teams kind of exploring, kind of having fun, if I'm being completely honest. But don't do that. It's not something that is quite reliable. And Ridaz, I feel like there's a bit of a misinterpretation. You have to remember as well that there's a big communication gap between us. There's still a very clear language barrier between, you know, the rest of Southeast Asia and the Philippine teams. So there's a very clear possibility that's them misinterpreting the meta. Ridaz, it's just not, because they don't need to do that, Ramon. They're 3 rounds ahead.
I can't believe the strat that they could go for is reverse psychology, right? And Ridaz are getting fed up to it, right? But honestly, in the long term, maybe that's something that they could recognize on their own. Maybe they could notice that it's not just those weapons anyway, right? And hopefully they do find their own identity coming through in the CFS meta so far. Granted, right? I mean, there's only 1 round that we saw Vepr come into play. But I know that we like to go for standard loadouts anyways, Datum. But it's kind of refreshing to see something new come up every once in a while, right? I mean, we talk about the chainsaw from Wang Feng. We saw the Vepper come out from Bang S. Where's the Chris SMG, right? I mean, I just want to see somebody just run and gun him down. Yeah, I guess the optimal choice would be the M14 EBR. If you do want to go for that run and gun, go for the wall bangs. But come on. I mean, we already saw Nice Katol do it in the impact stage, right? I want to see it here for Ridaz if they want to do something different.
Exactly. I think they're gonna show it when they get to that desperation point, right? Because that's where Wong Feng really brings out the chainsaw consistently. Is when Riders are feeling a lot of pressure and when they're back against the wall, nothing to lose anymore. We'll wait and see if they do pull out a couple of interesting weaponry, but in this round in particular, Ramon, it's all standard. Still the double sniper for Riders.
Yep. And we do play standard. That's when you know their GR is heavily layered. 21 Rai. That is a nice shot to Sun.
Good start yet again for Riders. JY consistently falling to the snipers is not something I would have expected. Riders, no rotation needed. Get the man advantage.
It's nice to see. Now standard. Inside of Riders on the GR. They're now forcing JY Esports to play a little bit more aggressive. Mid push may be the possibility. They know that. They flash on through, so they're not afraid to invest their utility. They want JY to hesitate.
Pushing towards BR. Brian flash out. Elbow out, and he will get spotted by Kodok. 2 players killed by Riders. As JY struggling to get any footing in mid BR. Another player down. 2 players left for JY.
And honestly, it was a smoke that really covers up any sort of entrance over to the Ninja from JY. Makes them hesitate, but France is not hesitating any longer. Maybe he's cooking. A shot onto Kodak, and that kind of mitigates the pressure that they had on Long A. It is already maintained by France right now, LBA. Now his job is to deliver that C4 all the way towards that side of the map. But Bang S, good shots through, a wall bang, LBA down. So that leaves France in a very tough 1v3.
And Bang found the C4 as well. That completely eliminates the threat of the LA hold from France. And perhaps eliminates the entirety of the JY offense as well. France taken down to 1. And it shouldn't be long before he gets taken down to 0. There you go. And that is the biggest lead that Ridaz has ever picked up in Masters Southeast Asia. Come on, boys, take it home.
Hey, I know I predicted against this team, but it's very nice to see them doing well on the GR.
Yes, I know.
Pretty much with the util, finding form when they need to. And Kodak, unfortunate for him. France prepared on the shot and able to adjust onto Kodak. So that's an early 4v5. JY now have the numbers.
JY, of course, picking up the first kill. France need more of those shots to mitigate the double sniping of Kodak and 21 Ryan. He does so in round number 7. So JY, what's the plan of attack here? You've already taken down 1. Will you go through mid?
CA, maybe. The idea that Rai has in his back pocket, Bang S. Close. Maybe he is enough. He is. Gets the shot to Rai, and that's the C4 down as well. Solo pushing on CA. Maybe not the best thing that JY's cooked so far. Sun now gets that trade on the Bang S. They pick up that C4, and now they have the
Down to 3. JY keeping the lead, and Brian keeping mid. As he takes down Wong Feng, trying to be cheeky with the push down mid. But it is 21 Rice show in LA. Jump to help him out until he goes down. 2v1. 21 Rai. Sniper from LA.
And they know that he's all the way towards that exit position as well. Can he isolate Brian and France to cook up what could be a clutch for 21 Rai as he welcomes himself back on the server? But now they know that he's coming through from the flank. Swaps over to the weaponry. They plant the C4 down.
21 Rai going to curve. Making a little bit too much noise, Ramon. I mean, 21 Rai reveals his own position, and you can definitely still see lapses in the micro skill of these players, right? Tap walking is something that they have learned to master over the course of the season. But Riders, you don't need to pre-fire like that. Right? So, revealing the position, JY takes the round. 2-5. Need 3 more rounds for JY to tie up things.
Alright, maybe they're cooking with a mid strat right now.
perhaps.
Smoke onto BR and the push onto CA as well. That's one way to get towards that position. But JY have other plans. Maybe Store is their call right now.
Yeah, see a push from the defense of Ridaz, and this is something that they haven't really held in a long time. Decide to back off. Ridaz playing more standard, more safe here, Ramon, as JY gear up for House B.
Could probably also be their entry point. Wrong Fangs played this position before, so they have to clear him. Kodak, I don't think he knows that somebody has crossed his angle. France meticulously gets checked by Kodak. That's a beautiful shot coming through from the sniper. He has to back off for now. Push coming in for Sun. Wong Feng struggles, and eventually onto LBA. Another for Wong Feng as well. In terms of the defense, good punishment onto JY. Bang S now gets himself another. It's down to Rai, the highest rated member from JY. But he can't run on statistics alone. They're gonna hunt you down. Bang S spots him. USP out. Rai gets the shot, but Kodak will save the day for Ridaz. Another round for the Rosea team.
And you love to see it. Wong Feng stepping up on the standard weapons. Just the HK able to get the entirety of the team. On the other side, that's 6 rounds on the board for Ridaz, all thanks to Wong Feng. And JY, the problem persists, Ramon. They need this last round.
For sure. They want a better conversion coming into the second half. They have to cut it close. And as close as it could get, a 3-6 is not too bad, all things considered. As now Ridaz back on their standard. 2 players stacked up on LA. They're also trying to see if somebody's going to do some shenanigans on the mid side. But other than that, nothing too crazy.
You have to remember as well what this means for the players, right? They said that it's just for fun. They said it's to make friends. JY, I refuse to believe that this will not matter for their confidence. It's gonna hit hard when you lose against a team that hasn't won a single set this entire season. So JY have it within themselves to prove that they're better than this. 2-6. Hoping to make it a little bit of an easier half here in the last round. Number 9.
Lots of time for them to default again. They do stack up on that LA spot, and they also have at least step 1 to consider that CA push. Once they have all their members figured out on where they want to start, they can start pressuring the top A player, and that is the sniper, Kodak. Ninja jumping in, JY relying on Sun's entry. Brian with the shot. Wong Feng down, the top A now secured. Jung with the kill. Brian with a double kill. Alright, JY is cooking, and they got themselves the A site. However, it's a little bit too far, a little bit too close to the sun for Ridaz. As they get a 3-6, they're cutting it close by the end of it, Datum.
Exactly. I was expecting JY to pull the rush a little bit earlier on in the game. But they finally do at the last round of the half. Brian and France, the duo that took the spotlight when they're playing up against bigger teams, finally putting their names on the board here. And a nice little entry from Brian to take control of top A to eventually get them the round. 3-6, JY have made this a little bit more doable as they head to the favorable global risk side.
Yeah, and you could argue that this is a big reason why there is a lead present for Ridaz right now. But it's also how can you add to that conversation? I mean, did you see how well they were able to hold their defaults? I mean, it came with little amounts of challenge coming through to JY. And that's respect to JY. In the wins that they've had, it was decisive. But you also have to consider that Ridaz didn't really need to move around too much. They didn't do anything too aggressively. Except for the fact that they did push up on that mid side to try to take control of that CA. But they're not really the type of like SDS to try to triple peek on down towards LA or maybe do something aggressive on that B side extremity. I mean, this is a very patient Ridaz. And I feel like that's the only solution to the formula they had on that GR side.
And I think this is the type of playstyle that they kind of picked up from Veteran. Remember, Veteran, one of the few teams in Southeast Asia that loves turtling. Defense is their forte. And Ridaz kind of on the same page on that one, at least here in Port. And arguably, Ramon, this is the best map to do such a playstyle. And that just may be why JY struggled so much, is that this is what Ridaz has been preparing all year long. Is 6 enough? If that's the case, though, is 6 enough to stop JY from here on out? I don't know.
They've had a pleasant GR,
Mm.
but how is your BL gonna work out, right? I mean, there is no question. This map is very difficult on the BL side, and it comes with a lot of pure map control, to say the least, right? I mean, you gotta consider, are you gonna push CA by yourself? Are you gonna be setting up for that split push? Are you gonna win the sniper duel? And where is the sniper to begin with, right? I mean, things to consider when you are on Ridaz right now, right? I mean, I feel like they're gonna start with something a little bit standard in the first early rounds. They try to take a pick. I mean, for the side of JY, I think they're also pretty passive on the GR. Apart from a few Z controls in a few of their port rounds, I think.
Apart from done one,
I think there's a bit of
round.
That's true. That's true. But I'd say there are lapses that Riders can actually
Yes.
consider.
Absolutely. And we're gonna have to see how big of an adjustment they can make going to the BL side. Things are still up in the air as we try and reset for our set half. And here we go. JY back on the GR. Ridaz on the BL. The biggest challenge here is Ridaz keeping their momentum. It's gonna be tough, Ramon.
That's true. Can't ignore the possibility. LA set up for the side of JY. They have both France and Rai support each other on that sort of quest. Well, they also have the stack towards that B side. I mean, that's a little bit standard for riders. They don't want to make any more mistakes, and sometimes that mentality can kind of cost them.
It could. But this is an interesting setup though for JY. LBA in a high-low setup with, I think that was Brian right alongside him outside of HB.
This could be good for JY. I wouldn't call it a crossfire. It's more of like a bait and switch setup. As Jung, seeing the lay of the land, knows that store is definitely his, but are they going to continue? HB, LBA trying to jiggle for info, and he knows that once it's spotted over towards that Z position, Riders aren't really the type to take that store. Or they're not really taking the risk of trying to get anything aggressive. Rai gets a good shot. Kodak has been caught off guard. 4 versus 5. Riders have to push B.
Yeah, perfect start for JY here. Most of the players are low, which is why it prompted Ride to push up. But again, this HB setup from Brian and LBA, Ramon, it has to work.
Has to. You have to consider the close player. You have to consider the guy on top of them. When they go towards B site, they have to clear that. But 40 seconds. Time is running out. LBA just pushes a little bit too far. Jung finds that trade. Brian reveals himself. Now drops in towards Jung. And the only anchor on site, then 21 Rai just clears him with a shot. Nicely done for Riders, but they also have to consider the site. Sun. Nice adjustment to 21 Rai. It's all down to Wang Feng.
Nice.
But the clutch is not found. And JY on their setup gets the first round of the second half.
I told you, Ramon, it had to work, and it did. JY able to hold that B site. Riders couldn't even get the C4 planted. 4-6. And JY making things, or starting things strong here in the second half, means that they are permitted to be a little bit more aggressive. Look at Rai. Waiting for an opportunity to push towards either CA or LA. Kodok seems to have learned his lesson. He's waiting for the push.
For sure. Doesn't need a little bit too much. Or if he does want to go for that push, he could go for the backup coming in. But Jung doesn't need any backup. He knows he can take Rai all by himself. Takes on the IGL. Now has the top 8 player to kind of worry about. France doesn't hit the shot. Lots of damage, lots of util. Thrown to the wayside of top A. Sun now has his back. So it's not going to be a layered defense, but they don't need any layers. They have a nade, and they throw it to the side of France. Kills him off. 3v5. Right is going in.
But they have to plant the bomb first. The problem is JY are here. LPA goes up behind the box, gets the one, but that is it. Riders, a nice little power play in that LA spot, not even needing to plant the bomb.
Hey, I'm not saying that they're the best country for basketball, but that was one hell of a three-pointer if I've ever seen one. From downtown to take down the sniper. And the cards just started falling apart for the side of JY Esports with that defensive side. So Gonna be that Ridaz LA push that really sealed the deal for their 7th round. As now it's gonna be a bit of an adjustment. Jung aggressive on that mid push. Gets the kill for LBA.
Oh.
Sun will take that trade though.
1 for 1. Aggressive start for Ridaz actually. Try and find a little bit of semblance of control here in Z. Kordok from Bridge. And you got France from down under. Watching LA. It's like a shark waiting to bite. As it's 1 player down for each team, but Ridaz seems to have lost one of their players as well. So it's a 4 versus 3 in favor of JY.
Unfortunately, they really would have loved to have that extra player. Now it kind of softens up the type of trades that they need to get, and it also means that they have to make an adjustment early on in this mid round. 1 minute and 20. Separate each other to finally get that challenge onto Rai, as Rai will just run and gun down Wang Feng. Goes from bad to worse for Ridaz as they go back to their default. And instead, Kodak 21 Rai, the 2 snipers on the team,
Look at
will now
Rai.
have to play slow.
Yeah, look at Rai Ramon. He's pushing up again. Flash setup coming through from his teammate, and Rai finds the bullets onto 21. But 21 running away straight into the arms of Sun. And there's nowhere to hide from the boys of Davao. As Kodok figuring that out for himself. He goes down. And JY comes up. 5-7. Ridaz still lead, but JY, Ramon, they're coming.
You know what, Datum? I think we could take this. I think we've had 5 dead rounds all throughout, and I think it's our fault, right? We're the DR duo. We just came up to work and we expected this to be a really good game of Crossfire.
It is.
Unfortunately, another dead round. Unfortunately, there was a disconnection in the game as well. So while we sing the praises of the side of JY, it came at a caveat, right? I mean, Ridaz didn't really come in with full strength. They were getting picked off 1 by 1. It's nice to see 21 Rai, or actually, it's nice to see Rai himself actually get a little bit more aggressive with how he actually pushes in a lot of these GR setups. I mean, we talked about this guy being the consistent factor for JY Esports, and this game actually shows why this guy's been so consistent. He's the most aggressive JY Esports player we have.
Exactly. And if you notice, Ramon, despite the defaulting here of Ridaz, they don't necessarily expect the pushes from JY. JY should notice that, and they should take note of it, and the result should be them pushing a little bit more. 21 Rai, of course, on top of Rai, have made things a lot harder for their opponents, and they should notice that by now, Ramon. Just keep pushing. Ridaz aren't expecting this, so why not?
See, I now have a new conversation to open up with you, Datum. So,
Okay.
humor me with this, right?
All
Who
right.
wins in a fight? 1 singular Rai or 21 of those Rais? It's a good question, right? And I'm talking like, I'm talking like 1 singular Rai from JY Esports and 21 Rais from Ridaz. Just to be specific, right?
Time check, it's 12:51. Anyway, I'm not sure. Maybe we're gonna go to the game soon enough, and the score is of course still favoring Ridaz. I mean, all things considered, Rowan, this actually is a really good game of sports. It's a shame we're not able to showcase it continuously. You know how it is, guys. It's really hard to get stable internet. You know what that's like. I know what that's like. But we're continuing on with sports. Let's see here. 21 Rai versus Rai. Who's gonna come out on top? Let's see.
Alright, maybe we don't need your answer. Maybe we have the conversation be answered right now.
Yes.
Will this be the push for Rai? Or will this be the patience paying off for Ridaz? As now with the standard push, they have the split push coming in. Jung on the way towards CA. They also have 3 players stacked up on LA. So I like this from Ridaz. This is one way to try to weed out Rai, as he's been pushing time and time again.
I have an answer for you, Ramon. It's not Rai or 21 Rai. It's Ridaz that comes out on top. 7-5.
Okay.
You remember? On their BL side. And looking to make a bit of presence known here in mid, but it is France to shut down Kodok.
Very nice shot. They can't go towards LA fully knowing that the top A player The sniper himself is prepared, so they have to go somewhere else, right? And I think Wang Feng will actually open up that conversation from them. He'll either be that curve push that Ridaz haven't been considering so far, or he will be the one to cut that rotation while the rest of the players on Ridaz are considering that B site. They have 2 players stacked up for JY in that sort of extremity.
I have a question here from the comment section. Is Brian and Ramon related? What? I don't think so.
What?
Let's see. Let's see.
think-
We'll have to check later on, but we'll see. As the players of
I don't-
Ridaz make headway for curve, Ramon.
I don't think I'm Davalinho, but I don't think Sun was looking the right direction. Jung, run and gun, and a wall bang comes through. 4 versus 4, flash coming in. And I don't think Brian has any sort of assistance to LBA. He just left them dying. And Jung just peeks into Brian. That is big punishment for Ridaz, as they now have full control of that A site. What?
That's HE hitting it smart for France. Jung is down. There's 2 more players down and under. And Rai will be coming in from House B. They have no clue that these 2 players are isolated right down to 1. But Banks finds the kill onto France. Rai coming in. 1 versus 2. Defuse! It's getting stuck! Ay! Ridaz. I don't think they heard that. Oh my god. JY take the round.
One singular ride just peeks into towards the bomb, and you're able to win a 1v2 clutch without even using a singular bullet.
Well, there's your answer,
That's
Ramon.
one way.
There's your answer. Right wins.
Exactly. One way to end the conversation. 7 and 6 for Ridaz. And JY just catching up to them. And speaking of catching up, it's a ninja play for Wang Feng. A good adjustment onto Sun. They have C just like that in an instant.
Just like that. Riders also pick up the man advantage, but they're pushing Z into House B. JY, what is the response? They're gonna rotate quickly onto RS, so seemingly they're gonna give this site for free.
They have a lot of anxiety right now. They can either go towards that curve spot, or maybe it was a fake. But it's not a fake. It's France. Hits the shot onto Bang S. Now good adjustment for the side of JY. They already had 2. Around 3 players try to stop them within their tracks, but LBA, good popcorn. Jump down because of the nade. Rotate coming through for JY. The defense is here, but what about the backup? Where's the lurk? There's no lurk to be seen. As Brian now reintroduces himself from the flank, 21 Rai gets the kill. Rai peeks in towards the site. As now Wang Feng, the last man, in a 1v2 with 2 HP. Peppers a little bit of bullets onto France, but in the end, it's JY Esports to now tie up the scoreline.
And Riders kind of crumbling under the pressure of the JY post plant. They couldn't deal with the pressure of crunch from the House B position and then from RS. And they just kind of panicked there, Ramon. They couldn't stand their ground. JY pushing up against LA with 3 people, and they spot Kodok. They take out Bang. 2 kills for Rai. And Son, a little bit too deep. That's Riders fighting back.
First time that Rai actually does this LA push, but now some assistance from Sun. And it works magic up against RDS, who aren't hesitating at every turn. And JY are taking full advantage. The kill coming through for Brian, and he's hunting for Jung. Jung can't do anything. He's blind, and he gets peeked on down by JY, who get the lead right back, 8-7 in the scoreline.
See what I'm telling you, Ramon? JY are specialists when it comes to aggression. In the last couple of rounds where they quickly rushed, they just found the round. Advantage for JY, and they take the advantage again. Wang Feng is down, and LBA somehow slips past 21 Rai.
Aggressive push on towards that mid side. Very reminiscent of the LA push that Rai and Sun took towards themselves. And now LBA wants the conversation a little bit too close to the Sun though. With Jung prepared for the peak. A 4v3 and Ridaz now having the best chance that they've had so far under BL.
Brian pushing up, and he's not looking at the right corner. Jung takes him out. JY, I mean, I like the aggression, Ramon, but that was a little bit too much from Brian.
A little bit too aggressive for my liking, right? I mean, they had the numbers. They could have just played Turtle. They could have just played a little bit more passive. But instead, they're going to give Ridaz a little bit of leeway into trying to enter towards the site that they want. And they choose towards A. JWAR are going to stack up 3 players in towards that mid side. It's respect because they're going to be close to the extremity. But they're gonna give a free A site unless the BR player, that is France, can stop them before the push happens.
Oh, and that is exactly what happens. France takes down Bang, but Kodok still has the sniper in hand. Rai comes in for the 1v2, and he's not even calling for help. He gets the tap, but he gets tapped out as well. Kodok on top, but his son goes even higher. Set point for JY.
A diabolical angle for Sun, as Ridaz thought that they could get a free plant. Kodok could not do anything with his back turned, not even aware of the angle set up for JY. As while it was a few lapses in the mid-grounding, JY eventually, before the post plant happens, just pulled through with their set point. And now Ridaz feeling a little bit more pressure. There's a lot of damage done onto Jung and 21 Rai. Jung now has an idea that they could actually go towards that PR. But he can't do it alone. He needs a little bit of assistance. Every member of JY and their grandmother are holding that BR position.
There's 3 players from Ridaz gearing up for the Z execute. Maybe they're going to go to CA as well, Ramon, but they have plenty of time.
Absolutely. 1 minute and 40. Ridaz still taking that passive approach, but Bang Ez finds Sun on the rotation. Big punishment for him. And maybe an opportunity to finally overwhelm that curve player. Brian finds one but cannot find the shot. He has to readjust. He needs some assistance, but assistance, does he need it? I don't think so. Kills on board. France gets the 2K. The sniper wants to end the game right here, right now. Down to Kodok. 1v3, spotted on BR, finds LBA, could not handle the second shot. The third does not become the charm. JY Esports eventually get the set.
And they find their identity here. JY becoming aggressive, ending things on a high. It was a 3-round consecutive conversion that finally got them the win here, Ramon. And what did I say? All it took was a little bit of aggression. Everyone pushing up, taking control of mid, and then playing for the retake. That's where JY excel. And they finally remembered, wait, we can take the fights. We are JY, and that's what happened here. They take the fights, they take the win.
Seemingly like they kind of figured out what Team Stallions were trying to tell them. They are talented individuals. They can step up when they want to be aggressive. It's just that there's a lack of that intensity from them. They're trying to take those fights, right? I mean, kudos to Rai. He was the one who started a lot of the pushes that JY were doing on their GR. And when they finally figured out that he shouldn't be doing these pushes alone, that's when they become an even dangerous opponent when they're trying to force those 1v1s. And eventually, it just sailed out perfectly for JY. It was a good adjustment from them that worked out in the middle of the set. And eventually, Ridaz just crumbled under that pressure, Tatum.
Exactly, and you can definitely see the confidence still shaky here for JY, but then you can also see exactly the moment where they got that confidence back, and it was a night and day difference between these two teams, because we could see yet again the JY that is a cut above the rest of the Rosea teams.
Absolutely. It's almost like trying to translate into weird two languages. It's just not, that is very hard. And sometimes Ridaz is feeling that pressure right now. So we're going to go in towards the panel right now to get a little bit more of a deep dive into how this game has went. We're going to throw it over to Mochi right now. Thank you so much for the set one. Let's tune into the panel.
Thank you so much to our casters, Ramon, and as well as Tatum. And you know what? I know that in life there is no path that is linear, but we took a bit too much in terms of terms. And I was surprised that it led into such a close one before JY Esports has been able to close it out.
Yeah, as much as I want to give flowers here to JY Esports, Ridaz getting a close match, right, is actually very exciting. Because who knows, maybe they got the inspiration from veterans from their Stallions match, getting 5. Now they did them 1 up, right, and got it to 7. But I have to give also a bit of flowers then to Ridaz, because they did something nice, but JY just delivered even better performances by finding that aggressive style that they really know how to play, but were just afraid to show it.
Yep, and at least here for Riders, they almost had it right. It's just that it took into becoming a bit more careless in very specific situations. Just like after that diffuse that we had here for JY Esports, wherein they've been able to actually even do that ninja like, and there's even two more people here for Riders remaining. So sometimes we had to scratch our heads and let out a deep sigh because there were a lot of rounds here that was supposed to be taken by Ridaz as well. And I think it just boiled down to who would be creating more mistakes, and it led into Ridaz committing more. Indeed.
Yeah, I feel like they got lost in the sauce, especially with how our
Yep.
castles are rhyming, right? JY, Riders, 21 Rai. Nice ride though, but we still have a lot more to pry here in our
Mm-hmm.
set because we're going to see we're going to see the set summary before we go to Ankara. I would like to highlight here Jung and Kodok because they were the spark plugs for this Riders team. For the other side though, I think I'm expecting a lot more from LBA since he was the player that was subbed in, right? In replace of Jelan, but never mind him for now. I want to see him later. It's Franz, Brian, and Ria that's Rai rather that was actually doing that heavy lifting. So after a bit of maybe through the dead rounds, right? Communication,
Mm-hmm.
maybe wait guys, we're JY. We just need to go in and try to be aggressive. They did snap of a finger and they just overtook the routes that Riders built for themselves and took the win.
Yep, and we can definitely now point our heads into our set MVP, and that is no other than it is going to be France, our zipper with a 2 KD, a short kill per round, and a lot of utilities we used actually, which is pretty nice, providing that anger, providing that support, and that has been definitely supplemented here by France. And despite how shaky this started, it seems like France has been like the sole constant person here, other than Araya as well. And I am wondering how it will turn out later once that we head into our next map.
Yeah, and not to mention the way that he revolves around his team, right? It's like him trying to be this ancient one that tries to just stay alive, get a kill per round, and he had 2 kills per round, I think, while getting at least one. So, wait, 2 KD with at least 1 kill per round. So, he's staying alive more often than not and making sure that he gets one while the rest of the playtime throughout these rounds, he makes sure that, okay, can I support here by throwing util? Can I try to set up a crossfire? Can I bait the first shot or
Mm-hmm.
not? If I can't, well, I'm just going to bide my time and then make sure that my teammates handle the rest. But for JY, this is the confidence we've been wanting to see, as Stallion said. And for Riders, just a little bit more, just a little bit more of
Little
trying
more.
and cleanliness, right? We might finally see a set win, not the default, a set win from a Rosie team, and it's gonna come out of Riders. Who would have thought?
Yep, let us see. And I really do hope that our teams have that realization. And later, will we have a revelation? We're gonna see that as we head after a few minutes in our new map location. And it is still the match of JYE Sports and as well as Riders. I like that. I like that. We have that picture perfect capture there. And we are also gonna capture some action here in the map of Ankara next.
Oh, I did that
Okay.
gesture,
Uh-huh.
Mochi, because I want to just snapshot the way Riders might just take this Ankara map,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have to acknowledge that their efforts in port are not in vain. We need
Mm-hmm.
to also make sure that JY, well, they know that Riders can shoot back and do these types of plays on both GR and BL side, and maybe okay. we just need to step back from the aggression and then let things play out first. Maybe have a bit of that analysis part. So we need to capture the moment when that aggression is turned off and then turned back on again for JY. Before riders get their momentum, we need to stabilize first and let the defaults play through.
And this is also the most that riders can do, right? If there is a
Yeah.
possibility for them to pull it over on the decider map and make it a bit more harder for JY Esports to actually earn this match win, that would be meaning a lot here for riders in terms of growth. And I think our battle is prepared, so let us hold on to or give it over to our commentators, Ramon and Datum. Take it away.
Thank you, Mochi and L. And what a nice way to transition, right? Coming from one snapshot to another. I think that was handily done, Dana, right? It'll be Ridaz versus JY Esports on Ankara. BL side for Ridaz. I think it's a playground for them. But I don't know, man. I feel like JY, I feel like they got the series in the bag.
I don't know. I wouldn't jump to that conclusion, Ramon, especially because of the way Coach L framed the scenario here. I'm taking a look at the map veto for JY the
Alright.
entire season so far, and every single time, Ramon, every single time that someone picks Ankara against JY, they've lost. I'm looking at ALG. I'm looking at the different matches that they've seen over the course of the season. And every single time that one of the teams that love playing Ankara pick it against them, matches even, taking the map away from JY, and it's never close. It's always a convincing loss against JY. Have they figured out how to play this map in the span of just a week that we haven't seen them? I'm not particularly sure.
That speaks to the diligence of this Riders team, right? I mean, considering that it is also a map that they picked, they probably watched the
Yes.
very game that you have just mentioned and took that into consideration, right? So, granted, they're not matches. They're not by any stretch very much in the same sync as the Cebuanos, as they have a lot of work to do as they now start on this Ankara game. Let's take a look at the comp, shall we?
Hindi. Papatay yan. Kailangan 2 plus. LB. Nice one.
All right. Gonna be starting on that push, and oh my goodness, in a blink of an eye, just after we hear all their comes, it becomes very dark for the side of Ridaz. 4 people disappeared in a matter of seconds.
And it immediately is clear to me that the problem is not JY, but rather their opponents in those said games. They immediately push. They immediately get the round. I mean, Chris, if the question of confidence still rings for you, it's been answered definitively for me. JY wants to fight.
That's the kind of JY that we've been looking for since Port. That hesitation now seemingly coming off of the Davaoenos. The question of consistency now lies in them. Bang S, good aggression, finds it onto LBA, but that's the newcomer. They still have a system to work through. Rai picks up a banger of a shot onto Bang S. That is a 4 versus 4. Kodak could not get the adjustment. Finds it onto Brian eventually.
Yep, deep rep position for the enemy sniper, but Rai still answers back. So pushing through CA. Oh no! Ridaz, watch your back. Son is here to flank. One more player behind you, Son. But it's okay, he's not pushing. This is the perfect amount of aggression. Has a C4 right in his feet. Son holding it very much secure.
Yep. Already expects the flank coming down onto Sun. Now Jong's in that 1v2. And oftentimes he's not always. That's true. Oftentimes he's not always in the server. So it's pretty nice to see him going out for a frag, but he's in a 1v2 up against very talented players. Rai holding down that angle towards bypass, and again, it's a question of if Jong can isolate both of these fights. A good adjustment made has been figured out by JY. They don't need to kind of run him down. They're just going to give him respect.
Jung has to try and maximize the timer at this point. He's got 59 seconds to play with. But the first obstacle deals with. That's France down. But Rai from bypass is not going to let him pass JY. 2 rounds in a row. And I like the aggression, JY. Keep it up.
For sure. Definitely the Ankara that Riders are not figuring out so much. It's been a factor of JY just pushing a little bit too closely. And here it is. All the way from downtown, France gets the shot.
France gets the opener, and here comes Wong Feng back on that chainsaw. And it's just easily dealt with by France. Just a USP enough to deal with that massive gun of his. 2 players down. Ridaz gonna have to recover.
Conversation of size doesn't matter.
Ouch.
It's also going to be another shot through by Rai as he's taking control of CA. Sun also getting another onto Kodak. It's down to Jung. Isolating one. Alright, got a conversation, but it already ends with Sun picking up the third for JY Esports.
And you can definitely see how much of an impact positioning matters more compared to the weaponry. Wong Feng finally bringing out the chainsaw, ending up not mattering anyway because he wasn't prepared for the swing of his opponent.
Ooh,
So here we go,
ooh.
JY 3-0. And gets taken down by Kodok and Wong Feng. Good start for Ridaz.
And good punishment as well. It's almost like they expected that JY were going to be aggressive finally in the 4th round. And Sun and LBA down, that's early PD control from them. But Bang S, now finally that split is working out for them. Gets another frag onto JY. And they're hunting down the last two over towards that B anchor position. France, what do? USP out, gets the kill on Kodak. Could get the second on 21 Rai, but he can't confirm the kill. Brian will. Eventually 21 Rai peeks into Brian. It's all down to France. 1v2 for the set MVP, and he even gets that 4K. Will this be Wong Feng? He has the chainsaw and cuts down France where he stands.
Well, that's an advantage of the chainsaw if I ever saw one. Can just use the amount of bullets that you have to spray away at your opponents. And JY, their aggression finally met with a bit of firepower here by Ridaz, and this is where you get to showcase how you adjust to the enemy playstyle here, JY. When aggression isn't working out anymore, you have to make some adjustments. And JY, well, this kind of has been a recurring theme for them, how they're going to adjust to their opponents. This time, they at least have the upper hand, Ramon.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's all because they were pumping the brakes out the window in the very start of the Sankara game, and now when their aggression is kind of now realized at the very early stages of the round, that's when Riders can kind of like sit back and maybe just go for the adjustment early on, right? And we kind of saw that from that mid-fight. It's almost like they knew that it was coming anyway. So now the biggest question was, are JY Esports going to do it again? Because in the last round, now they were expected. Or are you going to do the same mid-push that we've seen time and time again?
It's a big question. I think they shouldn't, but I think they should push on the other side of the map. Maybe push towards Hotel, maybe finds a little bit of LA control. But my key takeaway, Ramon, is don't stop putting pressure on Ridaz. That's really what gives confidence for JY and keeps Ridaz on their toes.
Sure. We're back into a 1-3. France set up on the angle.
Oh!
Smoke covered him, and Kodak is a dead man. Rai confirms the second, but Jong continues to be a threat on Ridaz' side. 2 kills for him, and another for Bangyas as well.
3 kills for Ridaz in total as the players of Ridaz look for an exploration towards Big Door. Somehow, LBA finds the pick onto Joe. Bang spotted. Nice still long-range battle between Banks and LBA goes down.
Take a back seat in towards that fight. And they do get that punishment over to LBA, so nice adjustments being made over to RDZ right now. As France, I think he was also spotted from that A push, so a good call for Ridaz now facilitates that B execute. The question is, how will the post plant work for them? They could separate each other, maybe have somebody on RS, expect France to go the long way, or actually have another player layered up on that side. This could be a good thing for France. He's all the way towards the flank.
Ridaz, come on, don't push. Just play together. Just trade each other out, especially because that's a sniper. 21 Rai. That's the info he's gathered. He knows France coming in from Hotel. Movement. Flash coming in. Ridaz playing this nicely off of the utility. And that's the round. Beautiful buddy system from Ridaz. Finally meeting the aggression that JY has put up. I mean, I was right, Ramon. JY pushed up, this time in vents. But Ridaz met them again with the same amount of aggression. So they won the early engagement and they win the round.
They also were looking upon LBA in his response as well, but Bang S really is that factor. Cuts off his rotation. 21 Rai finds the kill onto the fellow sniper. So a good start for Ridaz. They also have control over Vents and CA, so that's already the adjustment we're looking for.
For sure. But Ridaz might not be aware of LBA's position. I don't think they can hear him. And that's the kill, LBA. Good for just one. 1-for-1 exchange, but Brian makes it even better for JY. Triple kill for Brian. And Banks left all alone. Nowhere to look, nowhere to go. JY making that one quick.
And Brian didn't need any sort of assistance there as well. I mean, kudos to him. He was able to peek onto the 3 players. And an M14 EBR really is the weapon for that job entirely. 4-2 now for JY. As they now layer the lead that they have so far. They spot Bang S. Riot picking up the first. TB now controlled up by JY. As Ridaz, they're coming out in the numbers, but the chainsaw coming out for Wong Feng. It's almost like he's Leatherface. He's cutting off everybody's faces. 21 Rai gets the kill. It's a 2v3 and Ridaz have the lead.
It's so funny to see Wong Feng trying to tap walk with a chainsaw, bro. Just don't. Just run. Just run and gun everyone. And there's another kill for that chainsaw. 3 for Wong Feng. Pulls out the pistol for just Brian. He's all alone for JY.
I mean, there's a lot of chances that he can get out of this. Not looking towards the flank. They're all considering the long RS push. Brian gets that one for free. A 1v2 now for Brian on JY. Kodak spots him. Nade out, and it's unfortunate for Brian. Kodak is ready and willing to swing onto him. It's Ridaz to trail up with a 3rd round win.
Okay, JY, you know what, Ramon? Just stop pushing. Here's the mid push. It's just not working, especially in the face of this chainsaw. It's their last chance to keep the lead here, and JY, I think, have to play a little bit safer. But I don't think Son has gotten the memo. He's pushing CA.
Did not read the group chat. All said that they needed to step up, but Son, he is stepping up towards Wong Feng. The chainsaw down. Continues that CA control. LBA gets another spot on the Bang S. A little bit too far for his son. Kodak takes full advantage. Run and gun him down. Jong will deliver the second for the side of Ridaz. It is now a 2v2.
2v2. Ryan and LBA trying to be aggressive. They think they might have spotted out Jung. They do. And 21 Ryan's there for the backup. Raya taken down. LBA 1v2.
LBA, the newcomer. And a known entity as well. With the position that he has made, he has to go around the world. Gotta stop Ridaz in their conquest to take that site. Now plant that C4. They now have time to reposition. 21 Ride decides to go aggressive. And it's LBA's time to shine. The sniper has his back turned. Also spots out Jung, but Jung spots him at the peripheral vision. Gets the 4-4. We're all tied up in the first half.
And JY, rather, they've kind of dropped the ball a little bit here, Ramon. The aggressive game is just not working out anymore, and Ridaz constantly punishing them. I thought they were going to try and be more disciplined and a little bit more standard in this upcoming round, considering just the number of times they've been punished by the chainsaw of Wong Feng, but seemingly they haven't been able to get it figured out yet. I mean, they'd refused to play default for a reason, and that reason was sport. They really struggled a lot when they played the default. And I said I like the aggression, but not when it's not working anymore. And JY have to find something else to kind of catch a Ridaz off guard.
And it's just as easy as to not push, right? But when you're kind of used to a system to be played in Ankara, it's kind of hard to get out of that mentality or to get out of that default, right? And it's gonna be on the shoulders of Ride to kind of figure out what are the right words to tell everybody else other than just tell them not to push, right? It's very easy to just say those 2 words, but for everybody else, it's just as easy as holding down the W key. I mean, I can't fault them for trying to run and gun him down if that is something that they want to do on Ankara. But the problem is, Riders are catching up to that very strat, so maybe just turtle up. Something that Riders have already been doing since that first set. They kind of need some of that inspiration.
One thing that I have noticed here, Ramon, is the sniping kind of taking a step back for JY. Yeah. And this is something that they really have to utilize more. France is a beast on that TRG, and I can't help but feel remiss that they aren't showcasing it a little bit more, particularly here in the long angles. They keep pushing LA, they keep fighting mid. You could just put one of your snipers there, and France, he's definitely up for that task.
For sure. Off the timeout and into the server, France has a second opportunity, and he strikes the second time in a row. Kodak down. That is just France, and we know that he can take a shot.
Yeah, perfect start for JY. As I said, don't push, just put your sniper there. And I think they heard me. Salamat, JY. But Rai, he's just stubborn as ever. Pushes up, but he makes the window push work. Sun will be winning the fight against that chainsaw, and it's 21 Rai against the world.
All it took was just one pistol to take down the chainsaw. But 21 Ryan has the TRG. Gets the kill on Brian. But it's Sun. Precise as ever with that HK. To get the 5-4 for the side of JY Esports. Not too bad of a half for Ridaz. But considering the lead, I think I take this any day of the week, man.
Absolutely. It's a really close game here, Ridaz. One of their closest games ever. In fact, I would argue that this is one of the best performances that we've seen from Ridaz. From Port to here in Ankara, while also still being that definitive Ridaz, that Wong Feng on the chainsaw, that also is a kind of team that sometimes bring out the shotguns. And I love it, Ridaz. If they can make this kind of approach to CROSSFIRE while also winning games, it would be quite a feat for Ridaz. Perhaps next season, perhaps in regionals.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Could be. Could be a time for them to shine. Kind of wondering if everybody on Ridaz is on the same page. I take a look at the VC. Not a lot of a lot of them are unmuted on the VC right now, except for Wong Feng. Of course, maybe he has a setup, maybe he has a different device to try to listen to the comms. A few of them are definite. Maybe this is one of the reasons why they're kind of not on the same page in a lot of the games that we've seen in SEA Masters. This could be a factor, but I don't want to really make a big deal out of this. They're taking a very good fight up against JY Esports, to say the very least, right? And I'm just happy to see really good games coming through for everybody across the board.
Exactly. At the end of the day, that's what matters, right? If you are able to push your enemy to the limit, that's what makes a good game of CROSSFIRE, a good game of CROSSFIRE. Case in point, yesterday, the match between SDS and Execration, right? That was one of the best matchups we've ever seen in the history of the sport. And that's kind of the games that we aspire to witness here in the CROSSFIRE Southeast Asian. Of course, this is one of those matches, right? It's coming up with some big improvement, and JY also trying to improve. And it's nice to see a lot of our teams, or all of our teams, trying to step up to the plate while also having good spirits. I mean, man, look at the faces of the players from Ridaz. They all look very happy and enthusiastic, and what more can you ask for?
Hey, I mean, I've seen some rounds where Kodok himself was emoting. A few smiles here and there. It's a very refreshing environment. It's a very refreshing sight to see. Which kind of tells me that they're a very fun team to watch, right? A very fun team to be in. And I'm sure that the strides will continue as we also open ourselves up towards the second half. Now going to be BL side for the side of JY. Wong Feng still holding down that chainsaw. In the corner of my eye, I think this is going to be one hell of a clip for Wong Feng.
Let's see. Could manifest it. Brian, well, he denies the one, but Wong Feng does find Rai. That's it, though. It's Rai to take the spotlight. Double kill for Rai. And that's Kodok and 21 Rai trying to avenge their teammates. 21 Rai jumping up and about, but the USB doesn't have enough bullets for that, sir. JY, however, does. And that's the round. JY keep their lead.
Now we're seeing Ridaz take a page out of the JY playbook of pushing over towards that mid-side GR, but unfortunately, supplied by the smoke and with willingness from Rai to even get that fight, it was a Ridaz that was not prepared, and even the chainsaw could not save them in that round. A push coming in for Son, even finds Wong Feng. John cuts him down to make it a 1-for-1 trade. So it's a 4v4, and we see LBA now struggling to take that hotel push.
Around the sniper denied by LBA. He's going to be fighting Bang S instead. So that's the B site secured for JY. C4 is nowhere to be found, and LBA has to anchor for now, Ramon. As Jong trying to find a semblance of control again for Ridaz. LBA just run back.
That's true. He's trapped. But Jong gets the clear, gets the kill, gets the 2K, and that C4 dropped. Where the hell is Rai and France? They're gone. Around for Ridaz. And it came with a little bit of a caveat.
Slowly
but they still
into...
got the round.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Ridaz got the round in Ramon. JY. It's kind of turning into JYVDR, but nevertheless, I digress. It's it's becoming a little bit harder for JY, I'd like to say, to penetrate these rounds. LBA actually had a very good showing entering through that B side. I think he came from TB and able to win the duel up against one of the players of Ridaz. And you know what's interesting to me here, Ramon? JY sometimes it's a team that has nasty lineups. You remember that one round in Port where they have 4 flashes?
Yeah.
2 flashes, 2 smokes from SD towards top A. That was nice to see. But then you look at this round where I don't think they used a single bit of utility. They didn't even smoke off RS. They didn't smoke HM. They just pushed. And you can see JY definitely paying for that. But still also quite impressive that LBA is still able to win those duels. And I don't think that's one player we have highlighted enough. LBA being the sub-hit
True.
actually is performing decently enough.
Yeah, I mean, to our standards, I'd say, yeah, decent. It just means that he's gonna be able to put a spotlight on him in a couple of rounds where he's able to stand out. And of course, while they're lacking that bit of experience from Jelan, from everybody on the site, at least LBA is supplying that new perspective that this team has as a young player coming in, and it's also gonna be good for him long term because now I believe not only all the Davao teams, but also any other team in SCA Masters, or maybe people who want to get into the next season of SCA Masters want to pick this guy up. I mean, he's been performing pretty well by the standard. Not anything too stand out. Of course, we got the spotlight on both Rai as well as France all throughout that Ankara game, but I think he's doing a pretty good job. But what about for the Ridaz team, right? I mean, I think the spotlight from 21 Rai has been taken away. And it's all because it's been overshadowed by this JY Esports over-aggression, right? When will the time for Ridaz finally get to... When will they get a very decisive round? Because I've been seeing a few struggles. I've been seeing a lot of lapses, man.
Yeah, that's a big question, right? For Ridaz in particular, because if you take a look at their counterpart, Rosea Team Veteran, and I apologize for consistently comparing these two teams, but there really isn't much benchmark to base off of these two, right? There is one particular star player for Veteran in the name of Fires. He is brimming with potential. He's the one that keeps enemies on their toes, and he's always consistently having a positive KD. And at times, it kind of feels like Veteran relies on him too much. Now, that's a player I want to see picked up for another roster, or perhaps getting reshuffled to a team that is able to support the same kind of shenanigans that he brings to the plate. Veteran has Fires. Ridaz, it's not as definitive, right? Yes, they have Jung that has highlight performances. In Port, he had a very good KD, very, very strong headshot per kill percentage. But then you take a look at the rest of the games, Jung not necessarily the most, well, I wouldn't say not the best, but he's also not the most consistent. He does perform very well in certain scenarios, but not every time. You take a look at 21 Rai, yeah, he also takes the spotlight like in this game, right? But he wasn't there last game. Wong Feng consistently plays the chainsaw, and that's kind of what defines Ridaz right now. So there definitely is still a very clear identity crisis here for Ridaz, what they want to be as a team, what they want to accomplish. While the talent is there, they still have to figure out how they're going to utilize that talent.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the easiest step, right, is for them to finally get that star player, or maybe find that star player to play around with. You did mention that Veteran do have Fires. There is that lack of star player that we kind of, or star power, excuse me, that I'm kind of looking out for this Ridaz team. There's been times for Jung, as you mentioned, but he's been gone for half of the season anyways. So it's kind of difficult to kind of place that consistency on him. And I can't really blame him. Maybe it's outside of the server factors, or maybe these are things that are outside of his control. But nevertheless, it's been affecting Ridaz in the kind of performance that we kind of want to see out of the Rosé teams. But, you know, kudos to them. They've made the most out of their appearances so far in SCA Masters. Of course, it's been a long time coming. It's been a very long time since we've seen Rosé actually have their own league. Indonesia as a whole have their own league. So an appearances like this might blossom to more appearances in the long term. But I think that's been a lot of talk for this series in particular, right? I mean, I feel like the eventual matchup between you know, that the Veteran versus Ridaz, maybe part 2 in SCA Masters, could also hold up a really good conversation. It just sucks that we're not able to see that yesterday because of technical issues, but I would love to see that happen maybe the next time that we see both of these teams play again.
Absolutely. One thing that is exciting for the Rosea squads is now they know. Now they know how much they're missing out on. Now they know how much to catch up to. And now they've played against some of the world's best, right? Um, I'm not trying to poke at the ego of the Philippine CrossFire community because it's true. We are one of the best in the world. We have the
Yeah.
number 2 team as of CFS GF last year, right? So Ridaz and Veteran getting first-hand experience of playing up against such a team is going to give kind of like a bit of a limelight into how they are approaching this game and what kind of things they could improve upon, what kind of things they're doing wrong. And if they take that home and someone else, catches up to the way they play, maybe we could see a different face, a different team coming up for regionals here. Who knows? So the possibilities are endless here, and I can't wait to see what kind of improvement we're going to be seeing for the Rosea teams. That's the rest of Southeast Asia. Guys, if you're wondering why we're speaking in English, it's because we're featuring one of the rest of Southeast Asia teams, that is Ridaz, playing up against the Davao boys of JY ESPORTS. If you're just tuning in, this is already our match number 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, match number 2.
It is.
And the set score currently is JY after, or rather 1-0 in favor of JY after they have taken that port map. But let's talk about the rest of the matches here today, Ramon. Actually, I'm taking a look at the schedule. What are the other matches we are looking at today? We have Veteran playing again today. Oof. They're playing against Virtus Pro. And that's after they played against Stallions. Veteran... Yeah, Ridaz, all things considered, you're kind of lucky, right?
Well, I don't know about that, right? I mean they're only playing once, and they're not really playing up against Team Stallions and Virtus Pro, but on Sunday they're gonna be playing up against Matches and Execration.
And Execration. Oh, that's...
I believe the comparison is present, but they're still within the top 5 as well, so it's not gonna be an easy battle for our Rosea team. So, kudos to both of them. I think they're gonna need a lot more than just prayers at this point, right? There's the development to be made. A lot of development to be made. And maybe the challenges that they've set up against these top 5 teams is gonna be the best way for them to develop, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think in terms of our schedule, this is a pretty good way for them to actually end the season. Performance-wise, not really, but maybe experience-wise, definitely,
Yeah.
right? But we're getting an update. I think we're going to be starting in a very, very short while. Thank you so much for the patience of everybody, viewer side, as well as everybody else who are working behind the scenes. Thank you so much for making an effort to make CFS SCA Masters in tip-top shape. We hope you have been tuning in for a little bit, because this game has been taking a bit of a while to actually set its sail. But I think we're going to be starting very, very shortly back into Ankara. So what are we going to be expecting, right? JY are still aggressive even on that PL. Are Ridaz going to run it back and go for that mid push again? I think there's a little bit doubt in that.
They already kind of tried that, right? I mean, we've seen a lot of TV priority here for Ridaz. So let's see right now firsthand. We're going to continue on with Ankara. Score update, 6-5 in favor of JY as they will try to attack on the BL side. Ridaz not getting aggressive, Ramon. There's your answer.
Hurtling. Alright, I can respect that. Kodok is solo on the site, and Son is just going to dunk on him. Looks like a basketball player. LBA continues, and with an 8 in hand, Bang has had no chance. Jong gets one, but Jong can't do everything on his own. Franz is gonna support and get the kill on him. It's all down to 21 Brian. No HP for him as well. Nothing he can do. A run and gun for JY.
That's what I like to see from JY, rushing LA with all 5 people covering the track as well, putting France in mini-ter. And it's 2 rounds ahead for JY. They're steaming on, piling on that mid position, and they're gonna continue perhaps towards HM or to take down Wongfeng in CB. They're going for the latter and the initial as well, as Kodok takes down Son to stop them immediately in HM, but they don't care, Ramon. LBA still push it up.
He has a Vepr, and they know it's a shotgun. So they're gonna keep pushing onto RS. There's a diabolical Bang S. When one of the first Vepr kills we've seen with France delivers a Bang S double kill with the Vepr. But JY Esports, they still have the numbers. Jung left all alone. And we've seen them make magical things happen, but in the end, LBA will get the kill. And JY Esports getting closer and closer to ending his 2-0.
Okay, JY, time to push hotel. Come on, you push LA, you push mid. Now it's time to go a different route. Oh no, they're going mid, Ramon. I think Ridaz are going to expect this actually. Look at the position of 21 Rai in CA. Unexpected. And it's from top A. Kodok will find the one. Bang S with a shotgun. 21 Rai stops the push from JY. And they're all falling like flies. Ridaz, I said it. They were going to expect the LA push. And they did.
And they did it in the most rightest way possible with the other guns coming up to the name. And Kodak is going to seal the deal with just a shot coming down. Ridaz with an 8-6. And very much the read coming down on LA. It's picture perfect.
Exactly. In the first hurdle there for JY, they couldn't clear CA. They didn't even check it, I think. Tried to smoke it, but it was a little bit too late. So JY, they just got struck from the front and the side. And they will not rush anymore. But a shotgun still picked up for Bang S. LBA taking control of hotel. The B site is not the best idea.
Ooh, still at the hotel. I mean, LBA doesn't have a trade player in hand. Bang S with that Vapor is just going to introduce him to LBA. One thing with two Ridaz. The turtle positions have been working, but JY, the firepower is immense. They take 3 kills. They kill up Ridaz. And 21 Rai, he has to peek. He kills it onto Sun. It's now down to the 1v2.
Rai left alone from RS. 21 Rai has no idea. Now he sees him, but it's Rai to get the headshot. Powerful stuff from Rai's HK. 1v1 against Kodok.
He's armed.
A resident of the PH server, and Kodok sees Rai. And he takes the win for Ridaz. He's catching up. I'm telling you, Kodok. He's been playing a little bit too long in the PH servers. He's learning a lot of Tagalog words at this point.
Hey, I told you, let's adopt him. I mean, this guy has the vibes. He definitely can catch up with the meta. And he's showing that he can deal with the JY Esports right now, being that standout in the previous round. CA right, tries to expect this. Eventually, we'll get that kill. 1-0. Right is gonna turtle up.
And Rai, well, he kind of went on a isolated mission there. No info, no util, no teammates. He just bum rushed CA and it didn't work out, obviously. So LBA gonna try and do the same thing, but with a lot more reproach. Pushing towards HM. There's one player there behind the wall. That's Jung. So this is a very strong A defense from Ridaz because there's 3 players there, 2 in vents.
He's stacking up on towards their GR. And they understand the risk of giving up that ramp position. That's why they now leave Kodok all on his lonesome. But in the process, A has been structured, as you mentioned. And JY have no ways of trying to know that, so it's still a very, very slow default from them. 1 minute and 10 seconds. They're coming up towards high mid.
And Jung still playing from behind the wall. Here in HM, LBA. He gets close. Jung is just going to start firing on that EBR. It's about to happen. And LBA unaware. And there you go, Jung. What a rat angle that was.
And probably a second coming in.
Brian,
he's taking the slow approach. All right. This guy's a sniper. The spy coming into the other side. Gets the kill onto Kodok, and the other for the sniper just seals it onto Wang Feng. 2 versus 2. Finally, they revealed themselves coming out of RS Pride with a 2K, all down to Jung. Up against the sniper, France, what can you do?
Jung pummeling away, but the USP from France has a better shot. And Brian becoming the key to success, getting the jump on the RS player of RDZ, and then getting a double kill while in batteries. I'm telling you, man, Brian, one to watch out for, especially on the sniper.
Wolf in sheep's clothing for Brian as he catches the players off guard on RS. Pretty much an impactful play to say the least as Bang S seals it onto France, even gets the second. Alright, disgusting display from Bang S as Rai. These will get that trade to the other side. 3 versus 3. C4 still down. Bang S reconsiders his option to peek into the mid side. As they're going to be happy to get that 3v3 this time.
Exactly, Ramon. C4 is still not in possession of JY, but the silver lining, RDZ don't know that it is just outside of big door. And look at the push from LBA. He's already in a exit. He spots out 21 Rai. A site open for JY.
And he's calling for Brian to now join him in towards that A site, but with how far he is, there's a lot of time for Bang S to just peek into LBA. And that is just leaving Brian for dead in a 1 versus 2 clutch attempt, 1 minute. And if he instantaneously plants that C4, Ridaz will know what's up, so he considers that push on to exit.
That's actually a very risky push. USB in hand. Spots out Bang S. That's actually a Colt, not a USB. Brian picks up to 1.
Okay.
And that's an easy kill for Brian, but the problem is Kodok is closer than expected. Ridaz keeping it close. We might just go to OT.
Pretty much so. I don't think we've seen a Rosea team push it all the way towards OT so far in SCA Masters. Ridaz could be the first one to do it against the JY, who are shaken to their core and reliant upon those clutch attempts. Pretty interesting position we see ourselves for Ridaz. This is the best that they can hope for. Jung gets to kill his son. Has been sacrificed. And Jung also turtles back up. He's happy to take that 4v5.
JY, it's been a problem for them, that C8 position. They never clear it, they never smoke it, which is why they've always paid for that price. But they've taken control of vents. They're gonna push towards A site, looking up. LBA trying to be the rat that he is. And Rai coming in, making a distraction. In EA, it doesn't work because Jung steps up to the plate quite literally, picks up a double. And that is the assault falling apart as JY is left just to France. 1 versus 4.
Player cam tells you France knows what's to come. Their mentality now shifted in towards OT unless France can kind of cook up the impossible. And with how far he is all the way towards the C4, this is fading by the second for JY to end this 2-0. And Ridaz with that perfect setup. I mean, they tried to push it a little too aggressively on towards EA, but the thing is, the top 8 players really wanted to take that fight to them. France positions himself on CA. There's a lot of time for him to just wrap around. Maybe consider RS, but instead, with 45 seconds in his mind, he will try to get that pick. And Jung will pick first. It's going to be a 9-9 for the first time a Rosea team forces overtime.
Yes, sir. For the first time as well, one of the PH teams struggling to close out a game against them. Who would have expected it, Ramon, to be Ridaz and not Veteran? Certainly not me. And it's all props to the players here of Ridaz. It's been constant improvement ever since they kind of went off the radar a couple of weeks ago. Skipped a game yesterday, but now they're back. And they are most definitely out for revenge. They're looking to put a name, or a score at least, on the board.
It's almost like they got inspiration from Dolphex with a sabbatical and now finally showing a more than a better form coming into today's games, right? I mean, it's definitely an improvement. I mean, we've seen them kind of catch the players on JY off guard with a few setups, and while sometimes those aggressive setups don't work, they fall back to their default, which was going to be those turtle positions. I mean, you see them stacking 3 players on A, you'd know that the 2 players have to play actively. JY Esports couldn't have figured out that setup because all they keep trying to do is trying to push toward that CA, where the only flaw that I could see from that setup is that one player from Ridaz trying to push that every single time, and he hasn't been found out. He hasn't been punished for a lot of the pushes that he's been doing.
And all things considered, it's not that hard to deal with a CA player. Just send one player on the close right corner at the entrance of CA from LA, or just smoke it off, or just pummel it with a ton of HEs, or maybe control mid with a sniper player in Arc. I mean, it's a very clear-cut choice for, I think, JY to kind of actively ignore CA at this point, or maybe it's just a big lapse in their push that they haven't been able to notice. Whatever the case may be, they have to try and address that. Although, we're gonna have to go through that later on, because as far as I know, once we go into overtime, they're gonna go back into that GR side, and JY gonna have to reset in a different manner. And the matter is the defense. They're gonna push for BR.
BR push they are doing. JY relieving LBA all on TB, but Sun,
There you go.
he has his back. He gets the kill on Kodak
There you go.
and gets the second as well.
Oh!
Sun is stepping up and he is making Ridaz sit down. That's all 5 for Sun. And JY Esports get the 10th.
That's the ace for Son. That's what we've been looking for. Someone stepping up to close this on a high for JY. And Son is most definitely the highest of the standards on his team. 5 kills in the span of 1 round. Doesn't get much better than that. As JY look to take the fight again to Ridaz. Rai picks up HM. That's the second.
Ooh.
And that's the third. Rai again coming up big. And JY, fiery players.
LBA on the flank as well. This would probably be around wrapped up for JY. As Brian now gets himself out to 21 right, gives him the kill, but LBA and Sun gifted 2 players on Ridaz to get a 9-11 going. This could be JY sealing the fate of Ridaz in this Ankara map.
Might just well be. As JY now 2 rounds ahead in OT. Slower approach this time as France gets spotted. Calling the shots, calling the push as they try and take control of big door from hotel window. And Banges unaware! Gets struck down by France. It's another kill for JY as Son picks up Wong Feng. Arc control is just decimated for Ridaz as JY have completely controlled the map.
Were we surprised that on GR, JY are pushing? At least I'm not surprised. I mean, this has been what they've been doing on GR, on Ankara. And in a few of those times, it was expected on the side of Ridaz. But in OT, it's been a different story for them. It's almost like they were just giving these rounds away. Although, I don't think it's going to be deliberate. I think JY has just been winning those 1v1s.
Yeah, JY, me, I'm kind of a 50-50. They could have gotten the safer route. They could have gotten the push route, but they went for the latter and it worked. But I've been saying this all match long, Ramon. They should just push. They should just take the fight to the enemy. Because, well, it did work out at the start of the match. Kind of fizzled out in the middle. But now we're at the tail end and it's working yet again. Right? They seem to have forgotten who they're facing up against. And they've also forgotten the adjustment they made on the first half. They know how to deal with JY when they're pushing like this. But they just didn't do much.
I want to see Ridaz just pick up the Cuerdas mentality, right? I mean, I don't think I've seen a smile on Kodak's face in a while. And they definitely need to lock in, right? I mean, need to focus. JY has been coming up to spawn.
Look
So
at JY
many
too.
in the couple of rounds now, right? I mean, they're
Boys
all
having
very
fun.
focused. France is also, like, getting a lot of those shots in. I mean, I think he's been the secondary caller for the team. He's been wanting to have JY play around where he gets that first pick.
Alright, head back into the game. Potential last round for JY. They're going on the BL side yet again. Should be as quick as ever in terms of approaching an attack. They take hotel. Just like that, it's France leading the charge with a sniper, Ramon.
Not every day when you want to see a sniper coming down on Brian, and he wants to be the one to get that entry.
Oh, yes.
As they now flash on in, France trying to command his troops to try to overwhelm the only anchor, and they know that Wang Feng is on 2F. He's dead. Rai gonna pick up that first. The entry is perfect for the B-side push. As France picks up the second kill for JY, they know that Jung is on RS. They're trying to trap him. They're trying to contain Rai. Ridaz can't do anything but die. 21 Rai, the last man for Ridaz. As they're probably on their way towards death. Rai gonna pick up the last frag. And it is the last ride for Ridaz in this map. JY Esports secure the 2-0.
The only chance for Ridaz to ever secure a set here in Masters Southeast Asia has just slipped away. I mean, I know they still have matches coming up, but JY just closed the door on them. And there you have it, the quickest OT we've ever seen in Masters Southeast Asia. JY wins the series with an ace. Couldn't have said it any better myself, Direk.
For sure, man. I mean, it's been a fun time. I mean, it's a fun game to say to at the very least, right? I mean, kudos to JY Esports. They really kicked it up to gear when they realized that why are we hesitating in a lot of the ways that we've been putting down. We saw that on port, and it kind of took shape here on Ankara where they kind of just felt like pushing down WQ and found those picks entirely. It's not every day that you see a sniper trying to get that entry on in, but France kind of felt like he wanted to take that chance for himself. And we kind of need a lot more of those decisions made for JY, right? And for them to be able to take that first step, they finally get their second win in SCA Masters. So congratulations to them. And congratulations to Ridaz as well. Let's get it over to the panel to try to talk a little bit more about JY and Ridaz. Mochi and L, are you guys ready?
More than ready. And you can even see my friend here handling this clock. And it's time, and it's just about time, that JY Esports actually took this sweep. I mean, it didn't come to them easily, because it took a
Yeah.
lot of time, a lot of tug of war, push and pulls, But what's important is the outcome, and the outcome is that they won.
And a lot of dead rounds, Mochi, not to mention that thanks to our caster duo. But yeah, I feel like this is more speaking to the level of JY as a Filipino team than the level of Ridaz being able to keep up with them, right? The reason
Actually, yeah.
why Ridaz was able to keep up with JY up until that OT was because of JY's level, right? It's like this. If you compare the Filipino teams to JY, it's like this. But when it comes to JY and Ridaz, it's very, very close. But at least,
Hmm.
right, it's time. It's time
Yes.
that we see the improvement from Ridaz and from JY as well. Because if we see Ridaz doing this kind of scoreline against JY, I'm not really all that hopeful against matches. But
Mm-hmm.
at least there will be at least a little bit of leeway that we have seen that they know that they can do, and they
Mm-hmm.
just need to pull it out. Just need to close it out.
And we can even see certain heroics that came from our players here from the Rosie team of Riders specifically, right? We already saw Kodak pop off. We saw Bangs actually being heated up pretty early here in the map of Ankara. And here for JY, it seems like they're still testing the waters for some reason, especially when it came down to securing spaces. I feel like the moment that they became online is the moment that our friend here, their recent sub in, has been able to actually do such a very successful lurk all the way to LA, right? It's just pretty wonderful to see because after him getting one and dying, there is a lot of fast follow-ups here from the teammates of JY Esports. Although I have to agree with you, I hope that we can see more of that because it should have been a bit more farther than that, especially after that JY Esports been able to successfully defeat the veteran quite early into this group stage. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to see that.
Yeah, we haven't been able to see that result right for both JY not getting a win against Filipino teams and as well as our Riders not quite getting yet their set win. At least please make it a set win, right? Just one, but against your future opponents, it's looking bleak, but not hopeless, right? So looking at the set
Yes.
summary, it's still a quiet game for LBA. More of that support player, more of that backup
Mm-hmm.
player. It's Rai, Son, and Brian. I would say that's been taking the
Wow.
charge, and France also a bit of a secondary IGLing coming out from him with a lot of I would say forward aggression coming
Mm-hmm.
out of him and a secondary player. For the side of Riders though, not much to say other than 21 Rai, but Rai, the real Rai, the one Rai
Mm.
only, is our MVP with a 2.3 KD, 1 kill per round, a high headshot rate, and a lot of utility being thrown around as well.
And the IGL is not just fragging, but also taking that MVP title as well here in the map of Ankara. And I do think that Raya is actually a must-have player here for JY Esports, is other than the calls that he's been able to contribute to the team, but also all of the firepower that he's been able to hand down here for his teammates as well. Well played, well played. 70% headshot per kill too. Oh my gosh, Raya. had a field day in this map. And if you're quite late to the party, here is a quick overview of how our match just transpired. It is a 10-7, a 39, pretty close, almost for Ridaz, but unfortunately, almost is never enough.
I don't know the next lyrics to that song, but yeah, I would agree that almost is never enough here. But at least maybe it's a trickle down effect, right? We've seen the veterans get a good scoreline or total round scoreline versus Stallions. Now we see Riders getting this almost set win versus JYE. And then in turn, it's
Yes.
gonna come back around to veterans fighting Virtus Pro later. Maybe they're just amping up each other, but who else but to
Mhm.
amp up the fight for JY other than Raya again and again?
Yup, and he's like in terms of consistency, he is definitely the guy to rely on, especially during the past week that we've been able to interview Raya. I recall him being able to ground himself in very, very pressure heavy situations and also a bit optimistic, honestly, which is definitely something that you need in terms of mindset in these maps that we had so far. And despite of all of the hardships and them
Mhm.
being led into overtime here by Riders, he never fails to perform, and I think I am pretty much proud of how Raya has been able to actually pop off in both of these matches that we had.
Yeah, if you are the mastermind and you are also the coordinator of the moves, right? You're heading into the battle with your teammates, right? Not just being a general from the backlines. You're gonna have a quick grasp of how this battlefield is gonna figure itself out, right? So Rai, with being that virtue of excellence for this team, right? With the ace as well from one of their members, just letting the
Yes.
repetition of strategies just go around the map, right? We did not see a lot of
Mhm.
variation, but even without the variation, he knows that his players can do the round wins, and the round wins they got, albeit taking a bit too long, right?
Yep, indeed. And I think it's already time for us to interview our match MVP. Huwag kang mag-alala, no, Raya. Magtatagalog kami para sa iyo. Ayan.
Hello!
Ay, Raya,
Hello.
congrats! Grabe, no? Suki ka din sa mga match
Yeah.
MVP nyo pagka nanalo kayo. Kamusta naman ang experience natin fighting up against Ridaz so far?
Medyo nawala na ang focus dahil sa mga DC-DC sa
Ay,
internet namin,
oo.
kaya
Mm.
mm.
Valid,
Pero
super valid.
naman, ginawa naman yung best namin lahat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Very nice.
question ko ngayon sa'yo, Rai, is ngayon na tapos na, di ba, yung last match nyo dito sa CFS Masters. Ano yung pinaka one takeaway or one lesson na natutunan mo sa lahat ng matches nyo na pwede mong ma-apply sa team mo going sa next season natin, sa next sa Masters natin?
Sa lahat ng match namin, natutunan talaga namin yung disiplina talaga sa sarili. At saka sa pagdating sa pag-set ng mga play, hindi dapat kami masyadong mabilis. Parang lang, simplihan lang,
Kalmahan lang, no?
kalmahan lang.
Parang umaalis na tayo dun sa usual na puro agresibo lahat no? Ngayon, nagkakaroon na tayo ng structure, which is great. So, ano yung next steps natin dito, Raya, for JY Esports? Kasi for sure, hindi kayo titigil dito.
Siguro, malapit na yung summer siguro kami focus talaga sa practice at saka explore pa ng mga set play.
Pakapal muna tayo, no, ng playbook, kumbaga. That is why, Raya, congratulations uli, no? Nakakuha tayo ng palag talaga dito, no, kay Raida. So, Raya, pwede mo nang i-shoutout, gusto mo nang i-shoutout at mensahihan ng gusto mo mensahihan, the floor is yours.
And first of all, thank you kang God, kang Kuya Jay, kang Madam Yen, at saka sa coach namin na sa amin dito, nagpasok dito. Hindi dahil sa kanya, wala kami dito eh. At saka sa family ko, sa girlfriend ko, si Francie, Jay. Sa teammates ko, yun na po, salamat.
Yun, maraming
GY
salamat,
supporter pala,
Raya.
yes. Meron pa.
Ayun.
si
sige,
GY
go. Baka may
supporter,
pahabol.
supporter, at saka si Auntie Gigi and RMR. Yun lang. Bye-bye.
Yon, bye. Thank you, Raya. Congrats, and
Bye-bye.
Thank
hopefully
you,
we can see
Mochi,
more
and
Davao representation. Yes. Thank you, thank you. And again, ito gusto ko, pagkakausap natin si Raya dito, sobrang light lagi na vibes. And pretty much, no, at least they've been able to end their run in a good way with a W, which what matters. Kaya, maya-maya, ito naman ang inyong aabangan. Kasi tignan mo naman ang magkatapat execration and Pervid. Oh my gosh, grabe itong matchup na to.
Babalik na naman yung orasan ko kasi it's time na naman para makita natin kung sino ba talaga ang tunay na number 3 at number 4 dito. Fervid, the challengers,
Okay.
Execration, the perennial bronze medalist natin sa liga. May changes ba? And with the familiar faces nga dito, Mochi, between Execration boys and former Execration boys nasa Fervid, this one is going to be exciting and it's going to dictate the leaderboards natin sa ating table.
Exactly, and I'm really excited. Ano kaya yung magiging outcome natin dito? I'm pretty sure you know them, you know everyone dito sa lobby na to. May kita natin sino nga ba ang mas nakakayala sa isa't isa. Malalaman natin yan maya-maya.